Hello and welcome to the Golf Course Lawn Show. My name is Ron Henry and I am here to help answer your lawn care questions. Now, if this is the first time you're joining us, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen somewhere, you will see a chat box. And in that chat box, you can enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Now, sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care and sometimes life. Guys, we are towards the end of February. It's crazy. 2 months in 2026 are already behind us, but that means it's go time, right? We're getting into March. That means if you've not done pre-emergent, you need to get it done. If you've not scalped yet, you should probably get that done. You got warm season grass, lots of things that are starting to really start going fast and furious here over the next couple of weeks. As always, we're coming to you guys live as YouTube is our primary platform, but you can also watch the show on Twitter and Facebook. Also, for Golf Course Lawn Academy members, the Zoom meeting is up. So I posted in the school group earlier, about an hour and a half ago, about the meeting details. If you guys want to jump in, you don't necessarily have to get on video if you don't want to, but if you want to get your questions answered live, be able to talk and, I can wrap back and forth, you can feel free to do that. So we're getting close to spring now. So I'm starting to do that more since it's something that you guys have said that you expressed interest in having, and it's a value add for anyone that is in the academy. I think I've got everything set up right. So if you come in, the only thing I ask is make sure that if whatever you're coming in, if you're coming in as like Fuzzy Bear 23, I don't know who that is. So make sure your name is something that's actually, I know who I'm talking to. All right. Okay. Let's get into it, as they say. Let's see what we got here as far as our questions, comments. We got Mr. David Bloom kicking us off. He says, hey, Ron, thanks for all you do. You're very, very welcome, David. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your otherwise busy Friday evening to come hang out on the live stream. And those other places you could be, and you are here. So really do appreciate that. Okay, next up, he has a question. So, first he starts off nice, and then getting to the meat of the matter. Here's another question. Can I, actually, this is backwards. Let's do the first question he had first. He says, when Zoysia grass starts growing again, do I bag the clippings or not? I'm waiting on my soil sample to come back also. Really depends on you. I am a fan of bagging clippings mainly because I just like the way the lawn looks when you do that. It's more work. It is more work to do that. From a standpoint of, I guess, nutrient cycling, it's not necessarily the best thing. Like the best thing to do from a standpoint of getting the most out of your fertilizer is to just mulch the clippings back into your lawn. But as far from an appearance standpoint, and also just not dragging, clippings into the house and this type of thing, just the appearance just being nicer, bagging the clippings, I think produces a nicer result. So you can really go either way. With my front Zoysia lawn, it has, I'm trying to think, I've never mulched the clippings back into that lawn since it's been in existence, which is coming up on a year in April. So it's really up to you. There's really, again, no right or wrong answer. It really depends on your preference as far as which way you go as far as mulching or bagging the clippings. All right. So I hope that helps, sir. Let me go and save that, 'cause I'm sure someone else is going to have a question similar to that. So we may as well get the YouTube shorts running now, right? So thanks for that. Yeah, and you had a follow-up question. Let's get to that as well at this point. All right, let's save this. Okay, his follow-up question is around herbicide use. He says, another question: can I apply post-emergent herbicides like Celsius when the grass is still really, really low from scalping? You can if you need to. It's really, when it comes to herbicide use, it's as needed. If you've got weeds in your lawn, then you can go out and you can use herbicides that's correct for your grass type. And yeah, Celsius is a great choice. It's one of my favorite herbicides. It probably is my favorite herbicide for warm season grass because there's so many benefits to it, right? It controls a ton of weeds, and it doesn't, as long as you spray it at the correct rates, like there's no temperature restrictions, so it's highly unlikely you're going to get any yellowing or damage to the lawn compared to other options. There's other herbicides you can use on warm season grass as well too, but Celsius controls a lot of weeds and has the benefit of not causing not causing damage as part of getting your lawn in order. So for that reason and others, I'm a huge fan of the product. So yes, to answer your question, yes. All right, so good. Thanks for that, David. If you need anything else, let me know. All right, next up we have Mr. Scott Smith. He says, good, beautiful evening. Hit the like button. Definitely, Scott, you're leading hitting the like button charge. We got 45 people here in the chat in the first couple of minutes. That's good. It's a great start. And if you guys are, feeling generous, feel free to hit that like button. It costs you absolutely nothing. It's a free way to support the content, support the channel. So hit that like button. It's a free way to spread the good word about the Golf Course Lawn Show, trying to help lawns across this great nation of ours. All right. Okay, next up we have Mr. Alan Mello. He says, howdy, Ron. What's going on, Alan? Hopefully you're doing all right, sir. Mr. 3 Mowers. I think you are Mr. Real Mowing St. Augustine, if I remember correctly. I think you sent me pictures in the past, and you have this really, really, really clean St. Augustine lawn that you're mowing. This really looks really good. So cool stuff. All right, I'm trying to see here if I am popping in. Let me see here, participants. Cool, yep, that works, that's working. All right, okay, next up we have Mr. Jay Rose. He says, hey, Ron, and happy Friday, lawn nerds. So Jay, thanks so much for giving us an update as far as your lawn project. So if you guys remember, Jay is going through, I think he just recently moved, is going through and doing a renovation on his property. He was getting all the rocks, debris, tree stumps, all that garbage out of the lawn. And I guess this week is irrigation replacement day. So he sent a couple of pictures in. He's doing some trenching work, as you can see there, putting in new irrigation lines. I like it. It's a great time to do that. Looking good. I tell you what, Jay, man, I mean, this lawn is going to be pampered. As far as like lawns that are going to be born with a silver spoon in their mouth, your lawn's going to be up there, man. I mean, you're going through and doing all the work to get the ground prepped as much as you can. You're putting in fresh irrigation, because I guess you said you had some issues with the previous irrigation you had. So I mean, you're doing all the things, man. I think this is going to be good. I like it. Really, really, really nice. Keep us posted as far as how it develops. All right, we got Scott Smith. He says, got barricade and change up put down this week. Okay, very cool. It's good, like good combination. You got your pre-emergent and a post-emergent herbicide combo there. So nice, looking good. All right, we have Toucan Sam. Here's a question. He says, hey, Ron, about the Fusilade and Roundup spray to kill Bermuda grass. Should I spray that before or after green up? When it's greening up is when you want to go after it. So, dormant grass, while glyphosate can, here's the thing. This time of year, it's highly unlikely that your Bermuda grass is completely dormant. But because we're treating it like a weed, if you're trying to clean it out, whenever it's green, it's beginning to actively grow, you're going to get better absorption. You're just going to get better results from doing that. Like whenever I did my kill off of the front lawn last year, I want to say I did that in mid-March. There's a video I can probably find on exactly the date when I did it. But yeah, it was mid-March when I did it. The lawn was largely greening up nicely. It wasn't fully green, but it was greening up quite nicely. And that produced a really good result as far as getting rid of it. I'm trying to find the video here. Lawn cleanup, where am I? It was March 19th. March 19th is when I did it. That's so towards the end of March, third week of March is when it happened. If you want to see said video, if you're like, you know what, I want to see if you have any good tips in there that can help me get my Bermuda grass out and whatever you're happy to be putting in. Let's see, Bermuda removal video. Removal video. I mean, it's not a great title. Yeah. So there you go. So that has it in there as far as being able to see what I did. Toucan Sam. All right. So yeah. So what I would say is this: if you are going from Bermuda to Bermuda, like so you got like TIF 419 or common Bermuda, and you're going to change from that to another cultivar Bermuda, some grass in the same family. Really, you're probably going to want to do a couple of rounds. So you'll do one round, and then you're going to likely want after 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to want to go back again and hit it again. The reason being is that once you put that new sod in, say you're going to say, I don't know, Celebration or Tahoma 31 from TIF 419, right? There's not currently, not yet anyway, there's not really a way to selectively remove, let's say, common Bermuda out of a hybrid Bermuda lawn. So if you've got, say, a common Bermuda and you're trying to get rid of it, you want to do as good a job as you can, killing off as much of that as you possibly can, scraping it out, getting rid of it. Because what happens is if you don't do that and you then go out and sod, a month or two later on, and you have breakthrough from the previous lawn, there's not a whole lot you can do to correct it, unfortunately, right? There's not really a way to selectively remove it. Anything you do from a herbicide standpoint is also going to affect the new lawn. Now, if you're going to say something like Zoysia, which is what I did, then one application is fine because you'll use glyphosate and Fusilade to knock back the Bermuda grass, to kill it off, to pretty much get it gone for the most part. And if you have some breakthrough, you can use Recognition and where is it? And Fusilade. So this combination, Recognition and Fusilade, this combo is amazing at removing Bermuda grass out of Zoysia grass and St. Augustine grass selectively. So if you've got a Bermuda lawn, or if you've got a Zoysia lawn or a St. Augustine lawn, or I think also Kikuyu grass, this also works on as well too. If you have Bermuda coming through, you can use this to remove it. So it gave you a little extra there. I know it's not all that you asked. So depending on which grass you're going to, that's going to determine how many cycles of this you're going to want to go through to really get rid of the Bermuda grass. Again, if it's going to Zoysia, one good application to knock the Bermuda grass back is going to be good because you can always go after it with Fusilade and Recognition afterwards. What's funny is if you're watching YouTube shorts from like last year when I was going through and documenting everything that was happening with the lawn, it was probably 6 weeks or so after the sod went in, I started seeing some Bermuda grass breaking through, and I used glyphosate and Fusilade on it. I said, you know what? I mean, it's my lawn, and I want to, it's a new lawn. It's my property. I don't really, it's a great for testing purposes. Let's see how gentle this combination really is as far as getting rid of Bermuda grass effectively while being sprayed on a new lawn. We're talking about a lawn that's really 6 weeks old, and you really couldn't tell anything happened to the Zoysia. The Zoysia just was like nothing, and the Bermuda grass was burnt to a crisp. Like the only yellow you were seeing was the Bermuda grass dying off, which is really good. So this combination, again, recognition and Fusilade is what it is for removing Bermuda grass out of Zoysia. It's like Celsius and Certainty as a herbicide combination in warm season turf grass. Like, it's that good. It really is that good for getting rid of what you want while not causing damage to the grass you're trying to keep nice, which, like your St. Augustine or your, in my case, Zoysia grass. All right. So hope that helps, sir. Great question. If you need anything else, let me know. Next up, we got Mr. DJ Rockefeller says, "Hey Ron, we'll Roundup hurt Bermuda grass right now while it's dormant. Please don't spray Roundup on your dormant Bermuda grass lawn." Largely because most people think that the Bermuda grass is completely dormant, it's gone, there's no chance of anything happening. But I've personally seen a dormant lawn, and I see Mother of Dragons. I see you're here in Zoom. I'll get you in here in 1 second. So give me like 1 second to get you admitted. If you can change, I'm gonna get in the chat here really quickly, and I'm gonna message you if you don't mind. Just let me know who you be, so I can know who I'm talking to. All right, let me send. So you're in here, but I'm going to not. So you're in the room, and I'm gonna just chat with you really quick. So if you can message me and let me know who is this, so you can I can know who I'm talking to. I think you may have been on before. All right. Okay. So back to your question. Will Roundup hurt Bermuda grass while it's dormant? Again, if the grass is truly dormant and you want to, your call. However, having said that, I have personally seen Bermuda grass lawn in December being sprayed with glyphosate for the purposes of removing Poa annua. And when springtime rolls around, like right now, kind of we're on the edge of, you started seeing these patches of dead Bermuda grass all throughout the lawn. So I would highly try and discourage you from doing that, because even though the top of the grass may look dormant, if you get down to the crown, you kind of pull it back, you'll probably see some green there, and that will be injured through the use of glyphosate. Like, really the only reason to use glyphosate, the only real benefit in my opinion, is that it's cheap. So it's a less expensive way of taking care of getting rid of weeds in a dormant lawn, but the risk is just not worth it in my opinion. I would use a selective herbicide like Celsius, like Certainty, like whatever you need that's correct for the weed you try to control, and go from there. All right, that is the way I would go about it. Okay, so hope that helps, DJ Rockefeller. Mother of Dragons, I'm going to admit you, and let's see if I can add you audio-wise onto here. Let's see if this will actually work. All right, so I'm going to ask you to unmute, and I'm going to add you to the conversation. I think this will work. Let's go here. All right, and add. All right, let's guess one. Hey, Mother of Dragons, can you hear me?
I can, Ron.
Awesome. So I think you're coming through. I think everyone else can hear you as well too. So how can I help you? What's going on? I guess you're an Academy member. Otherwise, you wouldn't have access to this link. But yeah, how can I help?
Hi, Ron. It's Laurier Bear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I just joined in to listen. I'm ready to get this grass season going.
Nice. Okay. Well, cool. Well, yeah. I mean, if you have any questions, I mean, you're in the chat now. So if you want to just message again, the Zoom chat that we have, it's private for Academy members. If you have a question or whatever, just pop it in or say, hey, I would like to ask a question over the live stream. Just like raise your hand or message you in there, and then I'll bring you back in. Does that work?
Yeah.
Awesome. Again, thanks so much for coming to hang out on the show. I appreciate you, and I'll just put you back into the waiting room. All right. Cool stuff. Okay. All right. So let's see who we have up. Next. Mr. Robert Rainey, the man, the myth, the legend, has entered the chat showing granted, guys, here's the thing. It's not a Toro, but it's a really, really nice John Deere that he's using. So we gotta put some respect on his name. We still gotta show him love, even though he's not, not using Toro, not using red. But what's going on, Robert? I'm just giving you a hard time. Hopefully all is well. Hopefully your lawn is looking really good. So guys, here's something I did this year that is different this year compared to years past. So I had a comment, and I should have well, it doesn't really matter. I don't need to put the person on blast who did it, but they said, you know what? You always talk about scalping your lawn in the springtime. It's like, or scalping your lawn early, like in February or whatever. There's no real reason to do that. The lawn still greens up just fine anyway. So I said, you know what? This year I'm going to take one for the team. I'm going to take one for the team. It's painful, but I'm going to do it. So the only lawn so far, or the property that's been scalped so far, is the front lawn. The front lawn, right? And it gets sun, but it doesn't get sun like the side area there, the swale area, because like really where the sun comes up, it gets tons of sunlight. The back lawn also gets tons of sunlight. So what I did is I did a video because I said, nothing's gonna make a better comparison than showing scalped and not scalped to see just the difference in color. So first of all, this is a picture of the Zoysia this is like a couple of hours old. I took this just before the live stream. You can see lots of green coming through there. But you know what? You're saying, it's green, but also it's kind of dormant. It doesn't look like it's really that great. So this is the lawn right next to it. This is Bermuda grass, and that is the Zoysia. And now here's the thing that you have to also keep in mind too, that the Zoysia, this front lawn for the most part, is shaded by the house. Kind of like the shadow you're seeing now is shaded by the house until like around 1 o'clock or so in the afternoon. You can see tons of green coming through there. It's looking really nice. You can see lots and lots and lots and lots of green. I had a tiny little spot, I think, of Poa annua. For the most part, it's clean. I think I found a little spot of Poa annua, and not any more gone. But again, looking at that, and if we compare the Zoysia, again, which has been scalped a couple of weeks ago, to the Bermuda, which has not been scalped, you can really see the difference. So that one still looks like it's just, still winter, not really doing anything. And this is greening up, even though this part of the lawn gets less sunlight in comparison to like the other area that is not scalped as yet. So if you want just being able to see for yourself, like the benefits of scalping as far as green up, you're seeing it live, right? So my lawn, pretty much same conditions. The area that's actually greening up really gets less sunlight than the area that's not greening up. So it really shows the benefits of scalping if you want to get ahead of the competition a little bit earlier in the season. So not saying you got to do it, but there's definitely a benefit to that if you really, you want to be that guy or gal and have your lawn green before everyone else. All right. Okay, next up is Mr. Alan Mello. He says that Allet mower is a beauty. Thanks, man. I like it. It's a great piece of equipment. It's kind of wieldy to run, but it does do a great job. All right. Okay. Next up we have Swish 651. He says, excited to scalp my Bermuda tomorrow in North Florida. Thoughts on using a 2907 granulator to start the season, and when should I do my first application? Scalping, love it. 30%, almost 30% nitrogen fertilizer to start the season off, not a fan. Personally, I think that's too much N to start the season out with. I prefer, here's the thing, like the lawn is still coming out of dormancy, like when it's Sunday, when it's March 1st, I will do my first granular fertilization of the front lawn, and it's going to be a 12% nitrogen product. So almost a third of what you're talking about put there. I mean, so really you want to give it some food, let it, let the lawn, assist it as far as, new growth coming out. But as far as going like 30%, almost 30% nitrogen, that's a lot, in my opinion, to give this early in the season. So your call, your lawn, you can do what you want with it. But I'm a fan of using a lower analysis, a lower amount of nitrogen in a lawn that's coming out of dormancy than like almost 30% nitrogen. All right. As far as when you can start doing it, whenever the lawn is greening up. So for example, my front lawn, which you can see, you already saw it there, like that's what it looks like that's going to get, a light fertilizer app, like literally right around a half a pound of nitrogen, like hardly anything, this Sunday. So because it's greening up, it's starting to grow, it's coming in, so I'll begin feeding it. So it really depends on how your lawn looks. Given that you're in North Florida, I imagine your lawn is probably a lot greener than that. At least I would think so, especially if you already you're going to scalp it. So I guess depending on how your lawn is looking, that would determine when I would begin feeding it. So unless it was already green and you were scalping it just to kind of clean it up, I would not go out and scalp and then throw a bunch of nitrogen at it. I would scalp it and then allow it to just kind of let it begin coming in itself. Let the warmth, the temperature, just let the lawn begin growing on its own, and then you can supplement with fertilizer to feed it. I just really wouldn't push a bunch of N, this early in the season if it were me. Reason for that is you're just trying to, get away from potential disease problems. If we get a cold snap, chance of injuries is also there for that. So just in general, just ease into it is what I would say. Like a lot of folks don't even really start feeding their lawns until like late March, early April, right? So really looking at your lawn and let that be the driver as far as when you begin feeding it. But if it looks like that, and again, you can see it's well on its way to greening up, you want to give it a light application of N. You can absolutely do that. All right. So hopefully that that helps, sir. If you need anything else, keep me posted. All right. Okay, next up we have JBoy1757. He says, I'm in Dallas-Fort Worth area. How long should rotary sprinklers be on? How long should spray sprinklers be on? Assume July, August, September timeframe. It depends, man. So there's not an easy way to answer that question. So depending on your water pressure, how much water your irrigation system puts out, how hot it is, like all those are factors that will determine runtime, which is why whenever someone asks me how long do I run my irrigation system for, most of the time I don't really want to answer because it doesn't relate. It doesn't carry over. What I will tell you is that about an inch of water per week while the grass is actively growing is what you're going to want to do to help have Bermuda do well. Now, given you're going to be in Fort Worth, it's going to be pretty hot there. So in the months you're talking about, so you may have to bump it up a little bit more to account for the water that you lose from just evaporation, right? So what I would say is this, is if you're going for some tips as far as watering, if you're going to water, which you should at that time of year, I would do so early in the morning. So by that, I mean 4 to 5 a.m. So you want to water early enough that you are allowing enough time for the water to soak in, to kind of move into the soil to infiltrate, but not so long to where you're letting a lot of moisture sit on the leaf of the plant for extended periods of time, especially during the summertime when it's hot. It can create conditions that where if the plant is exposed to disease, it can be more likely to happen. So in general, watering at 4 to 5 a.m., a few hours before sunrise, is ideal if you can do so. How long to run it, I can't tell you for sure. I mean, I'll give you an example. My back lawn, I run a 20. It's 20, 24, 20. No, it's not true. It's 20, 25, 25 for the 3 zones in the back lawn, and the front lawn is like 10 minutes because I can't put much more than 10 minutes of the water on it because of the slope. As you can see right here, I could run it for longer, but it's just going to all end up on the sidewalk and out in the street. So there's a lot of factors that determine how long to run your irrigation. Again, temperature, how much rain you're getting, and also like how much water will your lawn hold. So if you want to you're trying to put out like half an inch of water in one go. One, it takes a lot longer than you think to be able to do that, but also is your lawn flat enough to where you're going to actually be able to take in that much water without having a bunch of runoff. So there's a lot of factors, which is why I can't really give you, 10 minutes or whatever, give you an answer as far as how long you should run it. But hopefully I gave you some things to think about, and you can work that out for yourself. What I could tell you as far as how you can get a ballpark as far as how to start figuring this out is if you get a set of tuna cans or a shallow dish, and you put that out, like you put several of them out in a given zone and run your irrigation, see how long it takes for your irrigation to put out depending on how often you're going to run your irrigation, between say a quarter to half an inch of water. See how long it takes for it to put that much water out. And then you can use that as a baseline. And then, if you're going to be watering 3 times a week, you can run at that amount for 3 times per week, or however long it takes you to get an inch or so of water out. So as far as like figuring out how much water your system puts out, putting out a shallow dish or tuna cans is a good way to do that. Again, some folks say water or run it until you get an inch of water. I don't typically recommend that because it takes a lot of water, believe it or not, but you're gonna be running it for a really long time to be able to do that. So if you can get quarter of an inch to half an inch of water, that's gonna give you a good ballpark as far as where to start and adjust up and down from there. All right. So hope that helps, J-Boy. Sorry I didn't give you a direct answer to your question because there's not really a good way to answer your question, hopefully for reasons that I explained to you, that it makes sense as why I can't say 15 minutes, because that would not be right. Okay, next up we have Swishy. He says, Sota said my potassium was a little bit low. Okay, so if your potassium is low, so I'll share with you, Swishy, what I'm going to be using. All right. So you're going with a 2907. So the 7 in that analysis is the potassium. The fertilizer that my lawn is going to get this weekend, this Sunday, is going to be, if I go to shop and then lawn fertilizer, it's going to be this guy, the 12024. So only 12% nitrogen, 24% potassium. Because again, the lawn is moving out of like cold weather into warmer weather. You know, potassium is good, is a good nutrient to make sure there's plenty of that in the soil as the lawn is being exposed to transitions. So now it's a great fertilizer to use. In the fall, as you're going from hot to cooler temperatures, is a great fertilizer to use. And then if you have cool season lawn, cool season turf grass, and you still want to fertilize in the summertime, this is also what I'd recommend, because again, it's relatively low nitrogen. You're not going to push a bunch of growth. So if your potassium is low, like something like this is what you'd want to use, not like a 7% potassium product, especially earlier in the season. So if you were told me your phosphorus was low and you had like a 7% analysis or 10%, like that would be fine, because phosphorus tends to build up in the soil over time. Like it doesn't go away as quickly as say nitrogen or potassium does. So all that to say is I would not put out 29% nitrogen. This is what I'm going to be applying on my lawn here this weekend. So hopefully that helps. If you want to read about it, along with all the other benefits other than the N and K, feel free to do so. You can check it out right here. I'll call it as a fertilizer to start the season. All right. And in addition, if you're watching the show on YouTube, there is a pinned comment, which is a blog that we did, that we updated it last year, about spring fertilizers, like what's a good choice for spring fertilizer, what's some other things you want to consider when it comes to fertilizing your lawn in the spring. So check that out. It's free to look at. If you have any other questions, definitely let me know. All right. Okay. Okay, next up is Toucan Sam. He says, also got my soil sample back. My backyard is a 7.3 pH, a little bit high, and the front is an 8, that's high, and I'm high in K and low in NP. What are your thoughts as far as a fert? I'm in North Texas, so mostly clay and caliche rock in the soil. Okay, so for a couple of things. So with your pH being on the higher side, Toucan Sam, you're going to want to use a sulfate of some sort. I can link one for you here in the chat, one that I've recommended to folks. That's good for helping to get that soil pH down. So that's thing one. And then as far as a fertilizer, I'm trying to think something that just has N and P in it, but little K. Yeah, so we don't carry anything that would really fit that bill, unfortunately. Like the closest you would get to that is our 14714 that has nitrogen, has phosphorus, but it still also has potassium in it. So yeah, I don't have one for you on that one, man, unfortunately. But in addition to you sourcing an N and P fertilizer, what I would also encourage you to do is to get a sulfate out to get your pH down. Let's see, sulfate. I should actually save this because it's from Earth. Oh, where's the company that makes it? I have to find this every single time. It's there we go. That's the 5-pound bag. Go ahead with the bigger bag, right? Do they have the bigger bag linked here? They do not. Hang on, let me find the bigger one for you, because you're gonna want more than 5 pounds, right? There we go. Cool. This one. Yep. So what I'll send you, Toucan Sam, is take a look at this. This is, in addition to the fertilizer you're going to want to apply, this is going to be a great, you're going to want to address the pH, because soil pH is really important. Like if you, as far as like micronutrient availability, with you being more alkaline, it's going to be like, you're going to be having to use like foliar sprays really to get any kind of micronutrient uptake in the plant. So in addition to getting a good fertilizer, I would also work on working that soil pH down. All right, so at Toucan Sam, sulfur for lawns. There you go. So I'm linking that for you here, and take a look at that. And if you, I think it's applied at 5 pounds per 1,000. It's a 25-pound bag. So just do the math as far as how many bags you would need. All right. Hope that helps. Okay. Next up, we have Bucky Clothes. I can't read. Bucky something 6. He says, hello, I live south of Atlanta. Is it safe to scalp now? Yes, you could have done it like 2-3 weeks ago if you wanted to. Is it safe to put out? Pre-emergent was put out last Saturday. Okay, yeah. To answer your question, yes, you can. If you want to scalp now, you absolutely can. If you already got your pre-emergent out last week, that's good too. But yes, you're good to go as far as scalping if you so desire. I think there's benefits to it, as I just showed in like a compare. Part of the lawn that's not scalp, part of the lawn that is scalp, part is greening up. The other one is like just chilling and relaxing. So I would personally scalp if it were me. All right, we got Sean Kranchik here. It's his first time on here. What's going on, Sean? Thanks for welcome to the live stream. First time, very, very cool. Hopefully, at a minimum, it's entertaining. Hopefully, you learned something. But yeah, thanks for coming and taking some time to come hang out on the show. All right. Next up, we have Alan Mello. Alan Mello. He says, experiencing a severe to extreme drought, according to Drought Monitor. Had to fire up the sprinklers to keep the soil from drying out. Praying for rain in South Florida. How is South Florida not having any rain? Like you guys, like when I go to Florida, it like rains all the time. How are you guys not having any rainfall? That's not good. All right, we have David Bloomfield. He says, with my scalped Zoysia and no green yet, should I water daily to keep moist or infrequent and water deep? I would not water daily. No, I'll put it this way, David. This lawn, like what you're looking at, where is it? This picture of this lawn right here. This is my Zoysia lawn. It's been watered exactly one time since it's been scalped. And you know when that was? Is when I put pre-emergent out. So I don't even really have irrigation running as yet. So it's only been gotten like watered from irrigation one time. Now, granted, we've had rain since it's been scalped, but no, I would not go out and water daily after you scalp the lawn. Because the thing with Zoysia is, like all grass, yes, it needs water, but it's also if you saturate it to where it's not drying out, heaven help you. Because I mean, as far as getting disease in Zoysia, like if you have problems with that, it's gonna, like, the recovery is gonna be, in my opinion, much worse than what it's gonna take for Bermuda grass, because it just does everything so much slower. So scalping it, that's fine. I would not go out and start running, putting crazy amounts of water on the lawn. I just really, really wouldn't do that. If you're getting rain, once a week, every, a couple times every 10 days, that's going to be just fine. It's not really hot this time of year yet. So I would not do that. And whenever you do start watering, the second part is what you said, as far as like infrequent and heavier is better than like just putting water on the lawn every single day as a program. I wouldn't do that. Okay. So don't overwater. Don't overdo it. You don't want to create conditions that can cause disease problems in your Zoysia, because again, it's take it from me, man. It's a great grass, but it is if you get any kind of damage in it, it takes its sweet time to recover. So don't overdo it when it comes to watering. All right, next up is Vahid Navi, I think from the Great White North from Canada. He says, Dear Ron, want to see you on the lawn and mowing soon. Wish the best. Thanks so much, sir. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Okay, next up is Patrick Schultz, 256. He says, hey, Ron, I will be moving into a new home with fresh sod. Congrats on the new home. Congrats on the new lawn. Should I wait until the fall to apply my pre-emergent, and should I use a starter fertilizer, and when? Okay, so when was the lawn sodded? How long has it been sodded? If it's been more than a few months, I would get your pre-emergent out. I really would. I would. And then as far as a fertilizer to start the season out, I mean, you can. I don't know where you are. Where are you in the country? You didn't say. Let's say that you're in Atlanta. I'm just going to give you an example of that. Let's say you're in Atlanta and the lawn was installed. The house was built and the sod was installed, let's say a few months ago. I'm just going to use that as an example. If that were done, if that were the case, then yes, I would go ahead and put pre-emergent out this spring. And then as far as a starter fertilizer, if you're certain that's what you need, a good choice is, if you know you need phosphorus anyway, and the only way you're really going to know that is with the soil test. But barring that, our 14-7-14 is like the do everything fertilizer. It's got your nitrogen, your phosphorus, your potassium. It's got some kelp, some humic acid. It's got a bit of everything in there. Got some micros. So as far as like a fertilizer that for a new lawn that you can use just to help it get established, and it's going to pretty much have everything to have you covered, like this is a great choice. When I put my Zoysia in last April, this is what I used to feed it initially. All right. So that would be a good choice. And then for pre-emergent, again, if the lawn's more than a few months old, I would get your pre-emergent out, assuming, you know, you got a warm season lawn, you're somewhere in the Southeast, and yes, I would absolutely get your pre-emergent out. Because if you don't do that, what's going to happen is you're going to be fighting weeds really another month or so from now, like 6 weeks from now, like crabgrass, other weeds are going to start showing up, and it's just going to be a pain to deal with. Whereas if you use pre-emergent, it can take the edge off of that. Even if you're a little bit late, it's still going to get some benefits as far as just reducing the amount of weed pressure that you have in the lawn. So I don't know how new the sod is, but if it's more than a few months old, then I would absolutely get your pre-emergent out. And in the fall, I would also apply pre-emergent again then too. So hope that helps, Patrick. A great question. Again, congrats on the new house. And, you know, other than all this stuff you asked about fertilizer, you asked about pre-emergent, one thing I'll tell you, man, one of the best things you can do for a brand new lawn is to put that mower on it. Put the mower on it. It will thank you. It'll pay dividends in appearance and just the health of the turf grass. Keep your mower sharp, or just mow your grass frequently. It's going to look good. All right. Okay. Next up, we have, what is Robert Rainey sending me here? He is odd. See, you just why you gotta show off, man? Why you gotta be like that? Why? Send me some pictures of his ryegrass at night. Man, it looks good. Robert 1. We'll do this. I'll share it with you guys. He sent me some pictures of his lawn at night. You know, I don't know, Robert. These pictures of this grass almost looks fake. It's the green looks too good for this time of year. Sure, this isn't fake. This is not AstroTurf. It's the common one people get. That's AstroTurf. Is that real grass? It's not real grass. It's not real grass. People in the comments will come and hit me with that sometimes. Like, that's not real grass. It's AstroTurf. I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. It's AstroTurf. All right. But yeah, I'm talking about. You guys can actually see what I'm referring to. So this is Bermuda grass that is overseeded with rye. Like literally live, because it's night where he is, and he just took the picture. So you can see, even at night, in its glory, it shines through. Looks amazing. Looks amazing. So that is Bermuda grass overseeded with perennial ryegrass, and this is a close-up shot. Again, I'm sorry, I should have warned you guys. Put your sunglasses on. You normally don't need them at night, but when you're looking at turf like this, you don't want to get blinded. So even at night, it's looking clean, man. It's looking real good. I like it. Now enjoy it, Robert. Remember, I think a few years ago, we went a little long on getting rid of the ryegrass. So, while this looks good, and it's going to get, believe it or not, this looks great. It's going to get even better over the next 4 weeks. It's going to look even better than it currently looks now. Like this is not peak. Like 3 or 4 weeks from now, it's going to be a thing of beauty. And then it's going to be time to get rid of it. Everybody's looking at its absolute best is when you got to spray it out. So painful. All right, next up is Steve KS. He says, good evening, Ron and all. I put down prodiamine fall winter split a week and a half / 2 weeks ago. Okay. I applied dimension as my pre-emergent transition zone with Kentucky bluegrass and tall fescue. Today, seeing some clover popping up. Any suggestions? Yeah, just whack it with a post-emergent. Like clover's pretty easy to get rid of. Something like what do you say you have? You have Kentucky bluegrass and fescue. So like triad would be a good choice. I'll send that to you here, Steve. Yeah, it sounds like you did a lot of things right with your pre-emergent program. I mean, granted, prodiamine's a great product. Sounds like you said you did an application in the fall and you did another one in the winter, and you had a little bit of breakthrough, which again, it can happen. I mean, on my front lawn, you guys saw I had over the entire thing, I had like one little POA annual pop through there, so it can happen. But as far as what you would use to get rid of clover in your fescue and Kentucky bluegrass, Steve, this is what I would go with. So herbicide for KBG and fescue for clover. All right. Use surfactant with it for best results. So you check there in the chat. It's that's what I would use to get rid of it. But you're doing the right things, man. You got your dimension out. You got your spring pre-emergent out as well too. So you're going to be in a good spot. You really should have, really not a ton of weed pressure come springtime and summer. All right. Well, guys, gals, we're almost an hour in. If you guys are enjoying the show, getting some value out of it, please hit that like button ever so gently. We only got 47 thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways. So there's 80 of you here in the live stream right now. So if you're getting some value out of it, or if you are entertained to some extent, please hit the like button. It's a free way to support the channel. All right, let's see here. Mr. Hayes says, hey, Ron, and all, the grass is starting to grow. Should I put the first cut on the turf top tall fescue lawn tomorrow? I am in the Triad of North Carolina, soil temp 44 degrees. Yeah, I mean, if you want, here's the thing, you don't have to be too aggressive, Mr. Hayes. If you want to go out and mow it and just take a taste off, just, just not make any kind of drastic kind of cut changes, that would be fine. If there's new growth, like you're saying, then, a light mow, nothing wrong with that. I just wouldn't be too aggressive with it. So yes, I would get out there and mow your lawn. Pretty much, I'm trying to think of a time when the answer to mow your lawn is no. And there's not very many situations where I'm going to tell you don't mow your grass. Maybe, I guess, when you spray, right after you spray herbicides, or right before you spray herbicides, don't mow your grass. But as far as as just general practices, yeah, that's one of the best things you can do. So yeah, if you want to mow it, just don't go too crazy with it. You should be good to go. All right, Steve says, I do have the tenacity kit on hand, but I'm concerned it's too cool. Well, here's the thing, Steve. If the clover is actively growing, so you got a herbicide that can tackle clover. Like if you're seeing new growth of the clover and you want to do a spot spray of tenacity, yes, it's going to be a bit slower to work this time of year, but you still should get results with it. So if you have that on hand, then I would use what you got. Because in other words, you can't necessarily look at necessarily your grass, like how your grass is growing. Look at how the weed that you're trying to control is growing. Does that make sense? Like, for example, like my lawn, like my Bermuda lawn is still dormant. It's going to get scalped here soon. It's still largely dormant, but if I had Poa annua in it, if I had henbit in it, yes, it's cool. The temperatures are cooler, but those weeds thrive in cooler temperatures. So if I'm going to use a herbicide on them this time of year, I'm going to still get pretty good results because the weeds, the plant that I'm targeting is actively growing. You know what I mean? So don't necessarily look at what your lawn is doing as much as the weed that you're targeting, that you're about to spot spray, what it's doing. So if the clover is actively growing, you can go after it with a post-emergent herbicide. Yes, granted, this time of year, it's going to be a bit slower to work, but you're not going to be wasting time by doing that. All right. So just always think from a standpoint of the plant that I am targeting, is it actively growing? And if the answer to that is yes, then you'll get some results by using herbicides against it. Okay. All right. Jay Boy says, so what exactly was your reason for transitioning from Bermuda to Zoysia? The gallery wants to know. I currently have, and I knew this was a Bermuda person because I have gotten so much, why you got to have Zoysia questions ever since I got one little sliver of Zoysia in the lawn now, right? Because I currently have 419 Bermuda, but I'm leaning towards transitioning to Zoro Zoysia. The area is 95% of the time in the sun. If you're going to go to Zoysia, go Xeon, man. It's like a finer blade. It's pretty grass. I would go Xeon. And my reason for it is just something new, something different. Something different. I mean, if you look at my content on YouTube, I've probably got a dozen or more videos on pre-emergent. I've got, I don't know, at least half a dozen like full-length videos on like leveling and top dressing and on, taking care of your lawn and on biostimulants and on products and all kinds of different things. The one thing I didn't have is anything on like doing a renovation. So I was just bored last year and I said, you know what? I've always wanted a piece of Zoysia. And the Zoysia folks, they're always like these, like the champagne folks. They're like, you guys that drink, or I should say, there's some more like a bourbon folks. Like you drink beer, you have Bermuda grass, you drink beer, but I enjoy a good scotch. I enjoy a good bourbon. That's how Zoysia folk kind of are. So I wanted to see for myself, is it really as good as they make it out to be? And for the most part, it is. It's actually a pretty cool grass. The only thing that's I say is a negative, that's also kind of a positive, is that it's just really slow to grow. It just really, really is not a really fast growing grass. Even with my feeding program, which some folks say, you're feeding the lawn quite a bit, it still is a very slow growing lawn. So the thing, why that's a concern, is if you have any kind of damage, it's going to take longer to recover than Bermuda. Like if you get some large patch in Bermuda, you put a fungicide out in a couple of weeks, it's going to be looking pretty good. It's going to be well on its way to recovery. With Zoysia, I don't believe it's going to recover quite as fast if you have that type of problem. Same thing from like where, if you have like a lawn that gets a lot of traffic and it's a Zoysia lawn, it's likely not going to tolerate that as well as Bermuda would. But from an appearance standpoint, it's a gorgeous grass. As far as striping, goodness gracious, man. I mean, it is, and again, not to be sacrilegious, but I mean, it is a warm season grass that stripes like how cool season grass does. Like it holds stripes really well. The stripes really well defined. The color is, it's green just like Bermuda, but it's like an emerald type color. So the color is just different. It's a really cool grass. I get why people really like it. And from a standpoint of being able to keep weeds out of it, Zoysia is kind of cool from a standpoint that, you think about it, if you have a Bermuda lawn and you get Bermuda in it, like you got a 419 lawn, right? If you get some common Bermuda that gets in there or some other type of Bermuda that gets in there, there's not really an easy way to get rid of it. There's not that's going to be pleasant to have to go through, right? With Zoysia, pretty much all the herbicides that you can use on Bermuda grass, for the most part, like your Celsius, your Certainty, quinclorac, like all the most commonly used herbicides for managing weeds in warm season turf grass, work just fine in Zoysia. It tolerates them just fine. And there's a way to get rid of Bermuda grass in Zoysia. So from a standpoint of a lawn that you're able to really truly keep pretty clean from weeds and other invasive grasses, Zoysia is pretty nice in that regard. And when you mow it, it gets really thick. So just a standpoint of just weeds being able to just establish in it, it's a lot harder than, say, even something like Bermuda. So lots of benefits. There is no free lunch. It grows really slow. If you damage it, you're going to be looking at an eyesore for a while. If you overwater it, or if you don't allow it to dry out, it can be more susceptible to disease than Bermuda can be. So, just like everything else, there's pros and cons to everything. Pros and cons. It's expensive to get installed. Like, it's not a cheap grass as far as like a pallet of sod. So there is that. But it's lots of fun, man. I would say if you want to try it, go for it. Why not? Only live once. Enjoy it. Have fun with your lawn. All right, Michael Coulthard, no relation to the Formula One driver. It says, happy Friday, Ron. What's going on, sir? Hopefully you're doing all right. And then next up is Two Trilla from Manila. He's really not, but I just like to say that. He says, happy Friday, Ron, and happy Friday, everyone. I noticed a slight green haze up just to get a cold snap. Luckily, we have nothing but warmer days on the horizon. I hear you, Two Trilla. My Zoysia went through the same thing. It was scalped a few weeks ago. We got that cold snap. But as you can see, it is well on its way to getting plenty of green. We'll get away from the Bermuda grass right now. It's looking nice and dormant because it hasn't been scalped. And we'll come over here to the Zoysia, and you can see lots of fresh green. Like all along the sidewalk there, you can see a lot of green coming through just fine. So you are correct. The lawn got through the cold snap just fine, and we are well on our way to lots of green awesomeness, right? All right. Okay, next up is Todd Hickey. He says, hey, Ron, is there anything to protect concrete from chemical overspray that stains surface concrete? Thanks. I don't know. You mean as far as like a coating you can put on it or something? I'm not that I'm aware of, Todd. I mean, there are products you can use to clean it. So as far as if you get like some staining from iron, there are products you can use to get that off. But as far as like a coating or something that you can put on the concrete that makes it resistant to, maybe from browning or yellowing from chemical oversprays, I am not aware of any. Not saying that I wouldn't be surprised if they exist. I'm sure they do. I just don't know of any, and I've never been asked that before, so I'm not sure. I don't know, but there's tons of cleaners. Again, if you get like iron on your lawn, there's tons of stuff you can use to get, or on your lawn, on the concrete, and you get some staining and you want to get rid of it. There are products that will do that and also not damage your grass. So sorry, I'm not better help on this one, but hopefully that is still helpful. All right, Breto Curan says, thoughts on scalping the lawn or a ground that is damp. I'll be going out of town for the next week, so short-term results aren't a concern. It depends on how damp we're talking here, man. Like, I'm not a fan of putting mowers on like really, waterlogged turf. One, it's like a slipping hazard, so just from a safety standpoint, it's not a great idea. And then also too, depending on how heavy your mower is, you can get out there and put ruts in the lawn. So just in general, no. I mean, when you say damp, like as far as like dew from the morning, yeah, if you want to scalp when it's damp, that's fine. That's no issue with that. But as far as if you had lots of rainfall and your lawn doesn't drain really well, and if you walk on it, like it feels like soft and mushy, I wouldn't get out and go scalp that. Like you're gonna tear things up and like put ruts in it and just make it look really unsightly. So it depends on what you mean by damp. If by damp you mean dew, go for it. If by damp you mean it's like you gotta have boots on to walk in the lawn, I would not get out there with a mower or really any heavy equipment until it dries out, some. All right. Hopefully that helps. Let's see, Brettle, Kieran. All right, so next up we have a simple guy, not a complicated guy, but a simple guy. He says, "What's up, Ron? Considering reseeding with Zoysia." Ooh, I wouldn't do that. I started killing off my Monaco last summer, seeded with rye for the winter, but noticing the Bermuda creeping back in. It's been a warm winter here in Phoenix. Okay, so if you're going to get rid of the Bermuda grass and the ryegrass, yes, Zoysia, yes, I would do that, but then also I would just do sod, man. I really would. A couple of reasons. I have personally grown Zoysia from grass seed before. And if you think like it growing from sod is slow, from grass seed, it took, I'll put it this way. I had a planter that was in the backyard, right? That got tons of sunlight. Like it got all the best treatment. The soil was great shape. I fertilized it. It got plenty of water. And literally it took an entire season. Like it didn't even fill in the first year for that planter for the Zoysia to fully grow in from grass seed. And that's with it being watered. And you live in Phoenix, right? So the amount of water you're gonna have to put out on that lawn for an extended period of time to get it to grow in from seed is just, in my opinion, not really practical, not a really, really great choice. If you're going to go Zoysia, I would absolutely sod it. Like a lot of the cultivars you're gonna have access to, in my opinion, are nicer that are available in sod versus what you're gonna get in seed. So if you wanna get rid of Bermuda grass, get rid of the Monaco, that's fine. And if you want to go to Zoysia, also I'm on board with it, go for it. But I would really do sod instead of trying to grow it from seed, especially in Phoenix, because you're going to spend so much money on water and it's just going to take forever to grow in. So, ultimately your call. But I'm just trying to save you from frustration and you're not having the lawn that you want. Because the nice thing about sod, it seems expensive and it can be, but the cool thing about sod is you literally go from no lawn to lawn in like a day. And then, you give it a week or two to start rooting in, you can start mowing it and that just starts the process and you're off to the races. Whereas with grass seed, especially Zoysia, like for the first 3 weeks, you're going to be looking at like nothing. You're going to be looking at maybe little baby sprouts coming out, a whole lot of nothing happening. And you're just pouring water on this the entire time to keep your friend from dying. So if you want to make the switch, I think it's a great idea. I would absolutely budget to go sod instead of from grass seed. All right. He says, can you recommend a good seed? No, I can't. I would do sod. I would go sod. All right, next up is Sean. He says, hey, Ron, first time from Nebraska. What's going on, man? Last year, I used an Earthwise reel mower. Just purchased a Rolex X20. Sent you pictures of my yard. Snow plow messed up some parts. Any suggestions on how to fix? You sent me pictures, you say. Let's see here. Let's see. Actually, I do have an email from you. Got an email, and I got pictures. And let's see what you're working with here. Where can I save all of these? Create a folder for you, Sean. And there we go. And Sean, they are in. I'm looking at here. Some of them are. Oof, that is nasty. Okay, so we'll share some pictures of the lawn. I'll see what you're working with. Okay, so actually, let me rename these so so that I won't be mad as far as being able to figure out later on. And guys, in the future, whenever you guys send me pictures, please, 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 for everything of it's holy and easier to live stream, send them in landscape, not portrait, because it just doesn't show that well on the show, but you'll see them here anyway. All right, so picture 1 of the lawn. Let's see, where is it? This guy. All right, so this is what he's working with as far as his lawn in Nebraska. Overall, have to admit, color looks spectacular. Really nice work, sir. Looking good. Looking good. And then he sent me a close-up of it to share with you guys. And it looks, yeah, it looks okay. At least your equipment is sharp. I don't see frayed edges. Looks pretty good for the most part, Sean. And then you said you had some damage from a snow plow, which is not great. Yeah, how to fix that, dude? That's bad. There's not really an easy way. I don't know what, if you can put plugs into that area to try and accelerate it filling back in. That could work. I'm kind of leery about telling you to go out and get sod and put it there because if the sod doesn't match, it's literally going to be an eyesore right along your street. Like you're going to drive by, and every time you see it, you're going to know it. You're going to notice it because you're going to have this little strip that doesn't really match the rest of it. So if you have an area of your lawn where you can harvest a few plugs, it's a better picture here, where you can harvest a few plugs to put in that area. That would be the way to go to ensure that it's absolutely going to match. It's kind of a big area though, but just realize that it's going to take a minute for that to fill in. It's take a minute for that to come back in. But I mean, you could use sod, but again, if what you put in does not match your existing lawn like perfectly, which it may or may not, you're going to be staring at it. Literally, it's right along the street. So if it were me, I would either let what's there spread on its own, or I would find an area of your lawn, like somewhere out of this, maybe near the house or somewhere that's kind of, out of sight. Get some plugs. Maybe, how big of an area are we talking here? I would probably do 12, yeah, 10 to 12 plugs in there. It's kind of spread out throughout it, and then that will help it to reestablish and recover a lot faster. And then you're absolutely guaranteed that it's going to look good because it's the same grass. All right. So hopefully that helps, sir. Sorry you're dealing with that. Sorry the snow plow got you. They did you dirty, but hey, it's the beginning of the season, and you can absolutely get around it, right? You can get it all fixed up. And thanks for coming to the live stream. Appreciate having you on. All right, next up we have Brettel Curran. He says, what fertilizer do you recommend for opening up the lawn mowing season? I assume I do this after my spring scalp. Granular, liquid, both? Great question. So here's the thing, Brettel. I'm gonna answer the question, but I'm also gonna show you where you can find the answer. If you ever want to know what's Ron doing this time of year, like what he's gonna be applying on his lawn this time of year, I'm gonna kind of give you a little peek behind the scenes. If you go to resources, you go to lawn care schedule, and you go to monthly application schedule, and you scroll down just a little bit. So we are about to be done with February. We're about to enter March. So this is where we can do our scalping, and then fertilizers as far as granular goes, it's going to be this guy, the 24012 or the 12024. That's what I'm going to be running, going out as a first granular fertilizer on my lawn for this season. And then for liquids, it's going to be the carbon kit. So release 901C, very low nitrogen, bit of kelp, a bit of soil microbial food, a bit of everything, just kind of give the lawn again a gentle ease into the season going. So literally right here, you can find out like what is Ron doing on his lawn. What does he recommend? And again, folks from I would say from Washington to Florida follow this. They may have to shift the time schedule a little bit, but this they follow and they get great results with it. It covers everything from your insecticide applications, if you're going to aerate, when you can do that, if you're going to overseed a cool season lawn, when you can do that, when to start using plant growth regulator, like all that jazz is all in here, and it's all free. You can take a look at it. But to answer your question, the 12024 and the carbon kit, both of which, I'll just do this first. So this is the schedule. So schedule is there. And then as far as where you can find the actual products that are listed there, if you just go to shop and lawn fertilizer, you will find the 12024 right here, and you will find the carbon kit right below it, almost like they are meant for each other. So this guy and this guy, these two guys right there is what I'm gonna be doing as the schedule reflects. All right. So hopefully that helps, sir. You can find your fertilizers right there. All right. And that's a question I'm going to get to answer a bunch of times this year. So I'm going to go ahead and save that one, and we'll make it into a short. All right. Next, we have Tyler. He says, "Howdy, Ron. Is there a way to determine what strand of Bermuda someone has? I bought a new house and I can't tell what I have." More than likely, it's 419. In most cases, when you get a new lawn, they're going to put 419 in a new property, unless you paid for something different. More than likely, it's going to be 419, typically 419. So yeah, but no, as far as I don't even know if extension offices offer that as a service. Like you can take like grass and send it to them and they'll tell you what it is. I don't even know if they even do that. But more than likely, again, unless you paid to have something different put in, it's probably typically 419. All right, 2 Triller from Manila is up next. He says, "I decided to not scalp last year to try something new. The scalp is already done for this year, and in my opinion, the results are noticeable. Although scalping can be tedious, I have learned to step I've learned to step the lawn down as we get closer to the growing season." Yep, I agree. So, it's funny. If a lot of folks just make fun of me saying, I talk about like the pre-scalp. Like you have the main scalp, and you have like a pre-scalp. You're like, "Oh, where's the pre-scalp?" It's kind of silly. I'm like, yeah, so you have a really large lawn, or you realize how much work it is to scalp a lawn, and you want to break it up into multiple sessions. So really, do some of it really late January, early February, and then you can do some more in February, and you can do like the main one here in March if you want to. So I agree. There's tons of benefits to it, but it's also a lot of work. If you have a bigger lawn, it's worth breaking it up into multiple sessions. All right. Next up is Mac Inac. He says, I guess Mac Maniac or something. He says, "Ron, I've been watching for a while. Trying to convince the wife to let me buy a Rolex. Been using an Earthwise 7-blade with the upgraded roller." So what you want is this like a cry for help? How do you make the argument for a power reel mower from the Earthwise? Well, here's how I go about it. Right? And again, not saying this is going to work, but you could say, "Hey, look, sweetheart," start out with sweetheart. It always works. Whatever you call her, whatever pet name you have, start with that. And then you can say, "Hey, listen, this is really, it's really important to me. It's going to improve the quality of the lawn from a standpoint of curb appeal. When people walk by, like our home is going to stand out in the neighborhood compared to other lawns, which is kind of cool. It's a point of pride. I've already demonstrated that I can, if I can run the Earthwise 7-blade, which is a lot more work, a lot bigger commitment to use a manual push reel mower to keep the lawn looking nice. And I did that for the better part of a season. And the lawn looked nice. I just want to take it up another notch. It's great exercise. I like being out in the lawn, I like working in the lawn. And this piece of equipment it's going to bring me happiness. And again, overall, the lawn's gonna look a lot better, if we go to a powered reel mower. You could try that. I think that's a convincing argument. Now, you may have maybe some give and take here. She may have some things that she may want to go do or go get, and you may have to be some give and take here. But I mean, I think that's a fairly convincing argument for a powered reel mower. Use the argument that women often use. They often go like, "Oh, when I buy something, oh, it's for the house." Yeah, this is a perfect example. This is for the house, right? It's not me. I'm just the one that uses it. I'm the one that has to slave away and use this piece of equipment, but it's not for me. It's for the house. It's for all of us. So give that a shot. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I tried. All right. You said your issue is I live as a live oak on my front yard causing a lot of shade. How do I combat this without taking out the tree? Yeah, that's a tough one, man. I mean, shade in most turf grasses. What kind of grass do you have? You didn't say. Shade is the enemy of a great lawn, especially if you got like a warm season grass like Bermuda. Like it's just not gonna, you're not gonna really get around that. Like you can get around, you can fix watering issues, you can fix soil problems, but shade is just it's like ice cream and mayonnaise. It just doesn't go together when it comes to Bermuda grass. You have to have plenty of sunlight. So here's the thing I would say. I would not go with let's take the tree out. Like that's a big argument. What we want to do is let's go to get the mower first. And then if you want to say, "Hey, let's cut the tree back," or whatever you decide to go, whichever way you decide. I mean, that's like a conversation for a later time. Like you got to pick your battles. You can't be like, "Hey, I want to cut the tree down and get it." It's too much. You're trying to do too much. So what I'd say is if you really want grass to grow there, the tree is going to be a problem. You can try topping it, like try raising the canopy to get more sunlight. That can help. But again, ultimately, you got to get sunlight on the grass. It's just not going to look as good if you don't have plenty of direct sunlight. Like being filtered through the trees, not the same. Just not the same. But again, I would table that one. That's a much bigger discussion than getting the powered reel mower. Okay, so let's just do baby steps, phases. Okay. Show her that you can make the lawn look really nice with the powered reel mower, and you'd be like, hey, you know what? This one area here around the tree, it'd look a whole lot better if we can cut some of this back because sunlight, and I'm doing my part, but I got to help the grass. So, but table that for later. All right. Okay, next up is the CSS 33157. He says, great info, Ron. Keep up the good work. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. And then next we have Eli. He says, Bermuda grass in Greenville, South Carolina. What order and time frame do I scalp, pre-emergent, fertilizer? In that order. That's the order I would do it. Assuming you're going to do it here in the next week or so. Because you're in Greenville, you have pretty much the same temperatures that we do here in Georgia. In my opinion, you should have already had your pre-emergent out. That's neither here nor there. But if you're planning on scalping here in the next week, I would scalp. Then I would do your pre-emergent, assuming it's going to be granular pre-emergent, and then I would fertilize after that. If you're doing a liquid pre-emergent, like if you're spraying like prodiamine, like in like a liquid form, doesn't really matter. You don't have to necessarily scalp then, but I would still scalp if you're going to be putting out fertilizer here in the next couple of weeks or so, because the last thing you want to do is go out, put out a granular fertilizer, then go scalp the lawn, and then invariably some of the granules are going to come out as part of scalping the lawn. So don't waste product. I would do it literally in the order that you have it listed there. I would scalp, pre-emergent, and then apply your fertilizer. And I would do it this weekend. If you got time to do it this weekend, I would absolutely get that done. When it comes to pre-emergent, there's no real reason to not be a little bit early. It's only going to help you, not really going to hurt you. All right. So hope that helps, Eli. Get out there, get your scalp done, get your pre-em down, and get your fertilizer out. And do you have to water it in? Yes, you have to water in your pre-emergent, and if you're doing a granular fertilizer, you also need to water that in. So you can literally apply the pre-emergent, or if you're going to do them on the same day, the order, let's say you're doing, I'll give you a couple options here. If you're doing a granular pre-emergent, I would scalp, I would do the fertilizer, and then I would do the pre-emergent, and then water it all in. If you're doing a liquid pre-emergent, so you're spraying liquids, and you still say you want to scalp first, I would scalp, I would do the liquid fertilizer, and then I would do the liquid pre-emergent. Reason being is that if you go and you spray liquids on the lawn, the grass is going to be wet. And if you go after that afterwards and go out and put out a granular fertilizer, invariably some of the granules are going to stick to the leaf of the grass, and you increase the chance of you causing some mild injury or burning. So in general, you don't put granular fertilizer on a wet lawn. So if you're going to do all this stuff in the same day, as far as like the applications, after you're done scalping, I would do the granular fertilizer first. And if you're spraying liquid pre-emergent, I would do the liquid afterwards. If you're doing granular for everything, doesn't really matter as far as like the order, but anything with sides in it, so like your herbicides, fungicides, insecticides, I tend to do those last whenever I'm putting a bunch of products out on the lawn. So do fertilizer, then your pre-emergent, then get off of it, water it in, and go on with your day. All right. Hope that helps. Robert Rainey's up next. He says, we need some Bermuda pics. I'm sending some nighttime stripes. You did, man. Bermuda, this is, again, Bermuda grass overseeded with ryegrass. And I mean, just showing off. I mean, we know this is like this is a not so subtle flex. I mean, was it necessary to show even at nighttime to show that the grass is looking, I mean, dude, here's the thing. When folks say that a lawn looks like astroturf, looks like fake grass, like this is what they're talking about. That is insane, man. It looks so good. So good. So good. Great work. And I see there on the right, it looks like you got some shrubs in and a little pine straw on the right edge. Nice, man. That clean edging is also looking good. Overall, Robert, you're checking all the boxes. The lawn looks good. The edge work looks good. Lighting is on point. Overall, top marks. I like it. Keep it up. All right, Steve Drigg is up next. He says, Charleston, South Carolina, I gave my Empire a clean up cut. Haven't scalped yet. Pre-emergent down last Saturday. I would still like to verticut. Should I wait to verticut or do a second app of pre-emergent? Either way will work. It's really up to you. I'm guessing because you've already done pre-emergent last Saturday, like you're not going to want to do another round of pre-emergent, assuming you're doing like a split app in the springtime, really for another couple of months. So It's up to you. If you want to lightly verticut the lawn, you can do so. There's no negative really to doing that. What I would not do though is if you applied pre-emergent last week, so like 6 days ago, and you say you decide you're going to verticut it this weekend, I would not then go out and apply pre-emergent again. Like there's no need to do that. I would make sure you space it out a few months before you go and do your second app of pre-emergent. But verticutting, yeah, no problem with that. If you want to do that, again, go light. You do have Zoysia. So you don't want to be too aggressive because you're gonna be waiting for it to come back. So hope that helps, Steve. Good job getting your pre-emergent out. Your lawn will thank you for it this spring and summer. Cooper ML says, "Wow, Robert, great job. The lawn looks fantastic." Don't encourage him. Don't. He knows. Believe me, he knows. It's probably his wallpaper on his computer and his phone. Maybe not, but it's either that or something on a golf course, I'd imagine, knowing Robert. All right, LTX Shep says, "Ron, Dallas Fort Worth, I sprayed Spectacle in the fall. Should I do it again in the spring? Thanks." You can, but I am a fan of rotating pre-emergence. So if you did Spectacle in the fall, which is an excellent choice for a fall pre-emergent, I would go to like dithiopyr or prodiamine in the springtime. So Barricade or Dimension would be my choice for a spring pre-emergence. You go to shop, you go to Weed Killer, and you go to pre-emergent. So this, while you can use it now, and really the people that are using Spectacle now, if you told me, hey, I have like a big problem with doveweed and I'm trying to keep that out of my lawn, that's when using Spectacle in the springtime could make sense. But really, it's just to prevent, or decrease the likelihood of resistance forming. I would just save this for the fall, and I would use one of these in the springtime. Like for example, this year I'm doing this. So I'm doing this in the spring, and in the fall, I'll be right back here to Spectacle. So I would either do Dimension or prodiamine in the spring, and then save your Spectacle for the fall. That would be my recommendation, LTX Shep. I realize you already got the Spectacle, so you want to use it. Up to you, but rotating is better, in my opinion. Steve says, "Thanks, Ron. Appreciate the help. You are very, very, very welcome." And then next up is J-Boy. He says, "Come on, guys. 94 watching and only 9 likes. Ron's providing great stuff. Hit that like button, that thumbs up." Yeah, we got 100 folks in the live stream, 74 likes. We're close. We're closing the gap, but it's not quite closed. So for those of you guys that have come to the show, we appreciate you. Love having you here. But if you guys would not mind hitting that like button, thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways, whatever you want to do, just some interaction, I would really, really appreciate it. All right, great way to support the channel. All right, Dan Sutton's up next. He says, "Hey, Ron, how do the trees feel in the spring? Relieved?" Yeah, I guess they feel relieved, I guess. All right, next up is Rebels Rule. He says, "Love your channel. Trying my best to get my yard looking great. I sprayed Simazine in November and just put out Barricade this week. I have Zoysia Palisade and common Bermuda." Nice. Well, you're doing a lot of the right things. You get your pre-emergent out, which is good. You used some Simazine, some Princep last fall. That can also work. And you're doing the things, man. So yeah, thanks so much for watching the channel. Glad that you find the content useful. Yeah, and I tell you to start feeding it and start mowing it. That's one of the best things you can do for your lawn. Feed it and mow it. Pretty tough to not have a great lawn if you do those things. All right, next up is Low Life Lawn Dad. Says, "Hey, Ron, is it safe to use Certainty on my Diamond Zoysia?" You see, Zoysia's even got cool names: Diamond, Xeon, Empire. Like Tifway, we got like Tifway 419. But we get like just really like very, very matter of the fact. You can tell the ones that were named by for marketing, and ones that were named by like the whatever the researcher or whatever that helped. Like this is like cultivar 419. This was a good one. We're gonna go with this one, guys. We're gonna ship this one. Anyway, I had my Diamond Zoysia that was put down last September. Did my pre-emergent a few weeks ago, but I had POA breakout this last week. Yeah, you can use Certainty on that. It's not gonna be a problem. What I would tell you is for POA, you're going to want to go. So the rate card for Certainty tells you you can go anywhere between like 1 large scoop, which can work for really, really young baby Zoysia. So in other words, I'll give you an example. If your POA annua looks like, where is it? I can give you an example. Get you off here real quick so I can hit pause. If your POA annua, if I can get to the point where it is, if it looks like, because I got a little bit baby POA in my lawn here. I had to show you guys in one corner. little baby one, he's trying to find his way in the world. If your POA annua looks like, where is it? Like that. If it's itty bitty like that, then if you go 1 large scoop of certainty with some surfactant per 1,000 square feet, like that will probably knock that out. If it's got to the point to where the POA has gone to flower, so you're seeing like some white in it, then you want to go to the higher end of the rate card, which is 2 large scoops per 1,000. So you're kind of saying, what are you talking about exactly? If you have certainty, which I am guessing you do, let me get you back up here. It's going to come with one of these. It's going to come with a measuring spoon. Yay for that, right? It's going to have a small end and a big end. And you're going to want to use this one, 2 of these, 2 of the big ones, 2 big scoops. If you're dealing with POA annua, that is more, it's more mature. So 2 large scoops with surfactant. That over 1,000 square feet will do really well for knocking out POA annua in your line. Yes, your Zoysia will tolerate it. Will tolerate it just fine. All right, so make sure you stick to the rates, and you'll be good to go. Okay, great question. Sorry you're dealing with that, but it's a common thing this time of year, and you are using the correct tool for it. The nice thing also about certainty too, this time of year, all we talk about is certainty in conjunction with getting rid of POA annua. But really, where certainty really shines is, in addition to taking care of POA, is sedges. Like as far as like sedge control and warm season turf grass, like this is the bee's knees, man. I mean, it's like it's just amazing from that standpoint. So you're not just buying this just for POA, you're also taking care of your pretty much all your sedges. This guy will do, and it has no temperature restrictions. So if you're spraying it in the summertime, very unlikely you're gonna have any injury to your turf grass. So I like it. I'm a fan of it. Great product. Oh, we got Cash App. Thanks so much, John. Sent one in here. So thanks. I forgot to mention that. So there's a way to support the show. If you want to support the show directly, you can use this link. And if you do so, you can be the show sponsor, which John is. He sent us in. He sent in $25. Thank you so much, sir. So there you go. Your name in lights for whatever that means to you. Appreciate all the love and support, as always. All right. Okay, next up is Mizon with an I. He says, let's see here. Is there a point to doing a soil test if I'm going to add topsoil later? Should I just wait for until after I level the lawn? I would still do a soil test because you're not gonna. I mean, how much soil are we talking about adding here? I mean, you're gonna be top dressing it, but you're talking about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, not a lot of material, right? Not like you're not like putting 6-8 inches of topsoil, and you're putting in like a very thin coat. So yes, I would still do a soil test. It's still going to have value for figuring out your nutrient program for your lawn. Would still do that. Simple Guy says, thank you, sir. I appreciate the feedback. You're very welcome. All right, next up we have Joe Bella 71. He says, my old house, and I had Zoysia here in Cincinnati, Ohio. It was dormant for a big part of the year. I did enjoy it when it was hot, but I wouldn't choose it in the transition zone. That's a good point. Yeah. So, your Bermuda grass, you hear folks growing Bermuda grass and Zoysia further north than when most people would really recommend it. And to Joe's point, the negative that you get with that is you have a really short season where the grass is green. It just stays dormant for a lot of the year. So that's an excellent point, Joe. As far as important consideration as far as choosing the grass based on where you are. All right, Kay Biddish says, I just got my Revolution 26 delivered this afternoon, ready to mow. Nice, congratulations. We gotta clap it up. Congrats on the new equipment. Love it when folks get new mowers. So congrats, it's a great machine. Keep it sharp, mow a lot with it. It will do good things for your lawn. All right, John's up next. He says, hey, grass people. Hey, Ron, as far as micros, if my soil test shows low, can or should I spray some, and at what rates? Thanks. Yes and yes. And as far as rates, I'll give you that here, John. So if you go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop, go to lawn fertilizer. Or you can just use search for micros. But if you want to you like to click around, you can just do it this way. And you load more and you find our micronutrient fertilizer that we worked with the Andersons on creating. Great folks to work with. So this would be a good choice, John, for addressing micronutrient deficiencies. And as far as your application rate, 6 ounces per 1,000. So 6 ounces in a gallon of water over 1,000 square feet. All right. So you spray it, No need to water it in, just spray it and go on with your day. It's designed for foliar uptake, so really easy to use. So that's what I would go with. Again, 6 ounces, 1 gallon of water, over 1,000 square feet. No need to water in once you are done. Nutrient fertilizer, and that's true for all of the liquid fertilizers that we carry on the golf course lawn store. They're all designed for foliar uptake, so you don't need to water them after you're done. You spray them and you're done. Which is why we also recommend spraying them at the rates that we do, which are relatively low rates. All right. All right, next up is Gerald. He says, Ron, oh, see, this is what I'm talking about right here. This exactly is what I'm talking about. This right here. It's like, I will say this. Zoysia, how can I say this without being ugly? You can't really. Zoysia folks are kind of like Alabama football fans. And I realize there's some probably like Alabama football fans here in the live stream. I'll probably get a lot of hate mail for it. But like, they're good, but they're not humble. You know what I mean? Like, you can be good and be humble and be like, you can have like an aw shucks to I'm really good at what I do, right? But you also can be like, haha, we the best and everyone else can kick rocks. And that's kind of how a lot of Zoysia folks can kind of be that way. Sometimes overtly, sometimes, with a kind of a bless your heart type comment. And this is a perfect example. He says, Ron, I'm glad you finally realized that Zoysia grass is king and Bermuda is lawn. See, that's not necessary. Is lawn kudzu is just completely uncalled for. Uncalled for. I'm not even going, you know what? I'm just gonna move on. I'm just hateful. Here's the thing. With Zoysia folks, people like this, they give the rest of y'all a bad name. Just so you know, this kind of thing right here. Call folks lawn kudzu. Bermuda grass is not kudzu. It's Bermuda. I mean, it's got a lot of benefits to it. In some ways, it's better than Zoysia. For a lawn you're actually going to use, Bermuda, you could argue is a much better choice. All right. Comina says, yo, I got my soil test back. My pH was 4.6. Good Lord. For Bermuda lawn, sandy soil, I just put down pulverized dolomitic lime, 20 pounds per 1,000. I'll do another 20 in 8 weeks. That's good. Not fun. Any other solutions to this? Not really, man. Yeah, you're doing the right things. You do like 40 pounds of lime total over like a 2-month period. That's what I would say. Yeah. 4.6 is low. What I would say is this, is do another test in like 12 weeks and like 3 months just to see how it's responding. And then you can follow up with more lime if you need to as well. But yeah, you're doing it right, man. Like it's 4.6 is that's down there. So yeah, I would do exactly what you're doing. Only other advice would be do another lime application or a soil test like 3 months from now and just assess where things are. All right. Is Maledict says, is there a thing as too much PGR on my tipped up Bermuda? Yes, there's a too much. Think about it. In life, if you ask, is there a thing as too much of insert anything? And the answer is probably yes. I mean, yeah. I'm trying to think of what you could have like too much. I guess if you love your kids, like you can't do that too much, I guess, to an extent. But like as far as like products you can put on a lawn, yes. Like even things that are good for it. Water, too much water, not good. Fertilizer, too much fertilizer, not good. Herbicides, definitely not good. And growth regulator, also not good. So there are rates that are recommended per the manufacturer. And again, think about it. These are people that are highly motivated to sell as much of this stuff as they possibly can. And they will tell you, hey, only use so much of it, because if you don't, it's not going to be good. So when it comes to growth regulator, I don't know what you're using, but if you're using one of the more common ones, which is trinexapac ethyl, which is the active ingredient in, where is it? In Primo Max, this guy right here. For a Bermuda grass lawn, for Tiff Tuff, for hybrid Bermuda, you'll be happy about this because you can go a little bit higher. The rates will be 1/4 ounce per 1,000 up to just under 0.40 ounces per 1,000. I think the label is like 0.38. So like 0.25 to 0.38 per 1,000 square feet over a 3 to 4 week period. That's what the label is going to call for. I would not exceed that. Like that's all you really need to get a good result. Like if you do more, here's the thing, it's going to happen. It happens every single year. Come late April, May, I'm gonna get an email. Someone's gonna jump in the live stream and say, hey man, I misread the label and I did like 10 ounces of Primo on my 2,000 square foot lawn. Is it gonna be okay? I'm like, probably not. So read the label, follow the label results. And the thing with Primo, I'll say is this, right, is that you will look at the measuring cup that's on this, right? And you will look at that amount and you'll say, there's no way that itty bitty amount of growth regulator could possibly slow down my lawn from growing. And it will. It doesn't take very much of this stuff to work. And if you want some additional guidance, and I think a more sophisticated way of applying growth regulator that I think personally thinks produces better results, you can do split applications. So instead of doing applying PGR just once per month, which will work fine in the early part of the season, but as temperatures get warmer and the grasses are growing more aggressively, it's just not gonna work as well. Instead, I'm a fan of spraying every couple of weeks. So how do you do that? There's a blog post that we wrote a couple of years ago, still valid. It's been updated a couple of times, on the subject of plant growth regulator, just for you. And it talks about what PGRs are, what are the benefits of them, when should you apply them, what are some good options for them. And then as we go down, we get into like some tips for applying it and not getting some of the negative results you can have when you use plant growth regulators, right? So how to prevent tip burn, and how you can use growth regulators together. So while you can use Primo by itself, which is what I've got here, I don't have a bottle of it here, but you can also mix along with Primo another plant growth regulator called a new EZ, which is shown right here. You can use both these guys together, and because they work slightly differently in the way that they regulate growth, you get more even regulation. The chances of the lawn coming out of regulation are practically zero over the course of the season. And because I know you guys are going to ask, well, how do I use it? We have some guidance here as far as rates you can use for doing a split application program when it comes to plant growth regulator. All free for you to use. And like this, I would read over this, and then you can decide whether it's for you or not. You can modify as needed, but I would implore you, I'd beg you to please do not exceed the rates that are on the label, really for anything that you put on your lawn, but definitely not for plant growth regulator, because you just don't need to. Like, more is not better. More is not better. You're just gonna damage your lawn. You're gonna cause like discoloration. You're gonna cause tip burn. It's just don't do it. There's no need to. So this blog, the one I was just linking, is right. I have all these extra characters afterwards. This blog is the one I would take a look at as far as some good guidance on how to get good results using plant growth regulator. We also have one that we recently did, I think it was like last week, that is all about how to use plant growth regulator on Bermuda grass to reduce mowing without wrecking your lawn. We had to put the without wrecking your lawn in there because a lot of folks will misuse plant growth regulator and then bad things happen. So we figured, you know what, while this is more of a, hey, this is general guidance on PGRs, how to use them, application rates and whatnot, because Bermuda folks just sometimes can get a little out of pocket. We did a blog post just for you guys on plant growth regulator saying, look, do not overdo this. Here's why Bermuda loves it so much. Here's all the benefits of doing it. Let's not overdo it. Let's not overuse plant growth regulator. And we talk about, you know, the benefits and just pretty much how to go about it. All right. So you got two options. You got blog one, and you got the new one, PGR on Bermuda grass blog. All right. So you guys can't say you don't have tons of options of how to use PGRs. Long short is, don't exceed the rates. Just don't. You don't need to. It's not gonna be as good. All right. Let's see here. And then I said, is there too much PGR? And do you go live on IG like you used to? Yeah, I do sometimes, but for the live stream, I don't anymore, because Instagram, you're not gonna have a hard time believing this, but I can be kind of long-winded at times, and they have a thing there where if you're streaming, I'm not sure if you're streaming from like a phone, if it'll do it, but whenever you're streaming through software, like which I'm using software to kind of cobble all this together, like you're limited to an hour, which we're already an hour and 30 minutes in. So what happens is, you know, you if you're on Instagram, you'll get the first hour of the show and then it will just cut it off. It's not a great experience for those folks. So until I find a workaround for that, I've just kind of said like, I'm just not gonna like start live streaming for the first hour. So I guess I could still, but just realize that it's only going to be for the first hour. So next week I can add an Instagram back in and just let the folks on IG know, hey, listen, you got like an hour to watch this. If it's still interesting and you want to keep being part of it, you have to come over to YouTube or Facebook or something. All right. So hope that helps. Ismail, please read those blogs on growth regulator. They're really well done. And the long short is the TLDR is stick to the label rates. Like don't like more is not better. Okay, John is up next. He says here, hey Ron, what say you? I'm thinking about doing spoon feeding again, but I would like to go a little bit towards what is one PPT? I don't know what that is. It'll come to me later. What liquid fert can I spray to do so? I'm high in phosphorus to Celebration Bermuda. Yes, our 22-3 fertilizer is excellent for spoon feeding, but it does have 2% phosphorus in it. So if you're trying to use like a fertilizer with no phosphorus, we don't currently carry anything that fits that. Again, there's like only 2% in it, so you're probably gonna be fine using that in your spoon feeding program. Again, lots of folks do. But yes, if you want a true like a phosphorus-free fertilizer, I don't have anything for you on that one, John, unfortunately. And then he says here, Ron, have you done anything to your Bermuda? We would love to see some content on your stepchild Bermuda lawn. Show it some love. Yeah, no, not really. I mean, there's not a whole lot to do with Bermuda. You feed it, you mow it, and just kind of does its thing. Just kind of does its thing, right? Tom Hoffenkamp is like giving you some guidance as far as why you should get rid of the oak trees. As oak trees also have allelopathic effects when they choose to use them. There are some big, beautiful live oaks nearby, and there is nary a single living thing underneath them. So you see, like when it comes to what Tom is, I'm just gonna like I'll translate this like the non-scientific way of explaining it. You oak trees and grass, the oak trees choose violence. That's what Thomas pretty much is trying to say. Is that the oak trees do not want any other grass or any plant underneath them, and they will take steps to make that not so. So when you do breach the topic of, sweetheart, I got the Rolux and I really want the grass to grow really well here, but this oak tree is, committing acts of violence against the grass, then you've got some more ammunition as far as, if you want to make that argument. But again, I would really table that. I would not do that in the same conversation as you trying to buy a several $1,000 mower. That's probably just not going, it's too much. You're trying to do too much, as the young folks like to say. Doing too much. All right, next up is John. He says, when it comes to leveling, are you hiring a company to do so? If not, where can you get a sand spreader? I will probably hire a company to do it. Like the front lawn, I do myself because it's really not that big. But I've top dressed this lawn several times myself, and it's a lot of work. It is so much work to top dress almost 12,000 square feet. And the company that I used to get the machine for, Keystone, they're not around anymore. So I don't even know where I would get a piece of equipment for putting out like spreading top dressing mix. So I'd probably just hire it out, man. Honestly, it's so much. It is so much work. I've done it a bunch of times and I just don't feel like doing it. So the front lawn will likely get top dressed again this year. That I will do myself because it's not, it takes a couple of hours to do that. But the back lawn, man, it's one of those things you start it. And it's like going on vacation. Like you're in a long car trip, and you first get in the car, you're all excited, and then like the reality of the car trip kind of sets in. You realize, man, we got 6 more hours to go with this. And when it comes to top dressing almost 11,000 square feet of Bermuda grass manually, it's kind of the same thing. Like you put the sand out, even if you have a machine, like you're only halfway done because you put the sand out and you still got to go out there and work it in and spread it and adjust it in some areas. So it's one of these things that it seems like a good idea at the time when you first start. And I've done it several times, but I just don't feel like doing it. Probably again, not maybe at some point I'll change my mind, but right now, no. I'll just hire it out, have someone come do it. Okay. Next up is John's. He says, why don't you get a Let's Go spreader? Those are some fine pieces of equipment. They are very nice spreaders. They're big though. They take up a lot of space. So that's part of it too. Like my garage, there's a car in there and I have like a relatively limited space for like the lawn care stuff. And those spreaders take up quite a bit of space. So for that reason, I don't have one. And my Earthway works well. So I like my Earthway. So that's why I haven't gone to something different. Emmanuel Jacobs says, hey, Ron, super excited for the season. Also curious when the Lawn ABC's episode D will come out. Yeah, we got to see when we stopped at D, right? Yeah, we haven't done. I was going to do Dallas grass. I was thinking about what I was going to do for D. Dallas grass was like a top contender, but I mean, it wasn't going to be very, very good. Um, like, lawn care ABCs, just be like, yeah, if you got Dallas grass, dig it out. Sorry. Not really an easy way to get rid of it. Like if people would have been like, that was less than helpful. So, but I hear you, Emmanuel. I will work on it. I got a lot going on this season, but I will do my best. And I see you sent a Cash App. Thank you so much, sir. I'll get you up here with John. Make sure I get your name spelled properly, Emmanuel Jacobs. So there we go. We got John and we got Emmanuel. Thank you so much for all of the love and support. Your names in lights, whatever that means to you. Appreciate it. Okay, next up we got Dan Taylor. Says, good evening, Ron. I use Certainty on mature POA annual, and 10 days later it's starting to yellow. Will it be good to get soil samples now? First of all, good job using Certainty. Happy to hear that it's performing as it should. 10 days sounds about right. And yes, you can get samples now. You can pull samples now to send in for your soil test results. I like it. Sounds like a good plan. All right, John has a question. He says, Ron, I need your help. So when backlapping my Revolution 20, can you talk about tips and tricks to do so? I plan on sending the reel off to be sharpened to reel rollers later. Hopefully it's easy process. Yeah, so really backlapping any reel mower. So with the Revolution, I forget the size of I think it's 1/2 inch, but whatever the size of the bolt is that holds the side cover on, you'd remove that. You'd put a drill on the reel and have it spin in reverse. And then for contact, you want it to be very light. So it shouldn't sound like metal banging on metal. Like you want to take the tolerance and just a touch, just a tiny bit. It should almost sound like the sound that scissors makes whenever the reel is running backwards. So I would do that. Put your lapping compound on. You could start with I think Reel Roller sells. I think they have an 80 and a 120. So you could start with 80 and then go to 120. Either way will work. And then once you've backlapped the reels you've got across, you put the lapping compound across the entire reel. You make sure that you've got a fresh edge across the entire reel and bed knife. Rinse all the material off and then check it. Check it with paper, with like a piece of printer paper just folded over, and make sure it's cutting all the way across. If it's not, you can repeat the process. You can go in the tolerances just a little bit more. Again, not too much. You don't want a ton of contact. And if after 2 rounds of doing that, it's still not cutting paper across, like you got some areas that it's just not working, that's when you're really looking at sending it in for a grind. So with backlapping, when done right, you really should, and assuming you haven't hit anything that you shouldn't have, like all you've been cutting is grass, you haven't gotten into sand, because that will do it. If you haven't done that, like backlapping should be pretty good, should be pretty effective for restoring a good edge on your mower. So hopefully that helps. Again, just go slow, don't have too much contact, check it with paper when you're done, and if it's cutting all the way across, congratulations, you're done. Make sure you get all the lapping compound off, like really rinse it really well. Like when I'm getting mine off, what I do is I continue to spin the reel in reverse when I run a hose on it to get all the lapping compound off. So I don't spin it forward until I know that it's pretty much it's clean. There's nothing else. There's no material on there, right? You don't want to go and take the fresh edge you just put on the mower off of it by running it in the direction that it's going to be going when you're cutting grass. Okay, so it's just small things like that is what I would tell you, John. All right, next up is Cheryl from Augusta. She says, hey, Ron, soil test shows I'm high in manganese, zinc, and low in boron. I have your micronutrient blend. Can I still use the product, or should I change to something else? So let me see. So you're high in manganese and zinc. Oh, yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I'm trying to think of how you would add boron in a vacuum. You can, Cheryl. What I would avoid is if you have any granular fertilizers that have those micronutrients in them, that have manganese and zinc, that I would absolutely avoid. The liquid fertilizer, for the most part, I mean, it works via foliar uptake. So, as far as building up or substantially increasing levels in the soil, it's not really going to do that like how a granular fertilizer will. So if you want to use that, I would what I would try and get you to do is avoid granular products that have the nutrients that you already have a lot of already in the soil. That's how I would go about it. So yes, you can still use the micros blend, 6 ounces per 1,000, and just avoid like a granular fertilizer that has a bunch of manganese and zinc in it. That's what I would tell you. All right. Okay, next up is Professor Tro, who says Zoysia is king. See, again, here they are. It never happens. It never fails. They never fail. Archie Amos is up. He says, evening, young man. Headed south. Can't wait to get my hands on the Bermuda lawn. Very, very cool, Archie. Thanks so much. I'm glad that you're heading back down to south, and you're going to be putting some love on the Bermuda. Good stuff. John is fighting back, says down with Zoysia. I get it. And then next up is Never Ending Meditation. It says, is Spectricide okay? It's a decent product. It's a blend. I'm assuming you're talking about the orange bottle. There's tons of different versions of Spectricide. They make a lot of different formulations. And for the most part, they're decent. You have to be more careful with them whenever temperatures get warmer. When they get hot, because you can cause some discoloration. But I mean, as far as a herbicide that you can get like at a big box store that can produce decent results, as long as you're following the liberation and using it properly, it's not a bad choice. Per application, it's more expensive than using the professional grade stuff, but I mean, if that's what you got, I would roll with it. Okay, next up is Shazakoma. He says the Bermuda grew perfectly last year with the Lebanon 12024. I tested this year and the pH of 4.6 showed up. What is the science behind this? Can pH just suddenly change? Can I fert while raising pH? Yes, you can fertilize while you're working to raise the pH. And yeah, so the thing that you're going to want to do is I can't hear your name. Shaz Comina is getting your pH into the Goldilocks zone for turf grass, which in most cases is between 6 and 7. What that does is whenever you're putting nutrient in the soil, particularly like micronutrient, it is more available for the plant. Like the grass can actually make use of it. Whenever you get, this is not your case, but when you get to the point where your pH is say very high, where the soil is more alkaline, and so you're putting in a micronutrient like iron, like it's not going to be as readily available for the plant as when your pH is in between 6 and 7. So can you still fertilize a lawn with low pH and it still look decent? Yes. Will it look better? Will it perform better? Will you get more out of the fertilizer that you apply if you can get your pH into the 6 to 7 range? Absolutely. So yes, you should still feed your lawn, but at the same time, now that you have the data that shows that your pH, your soil is overly acidic, you should work to correct that. And it can take time. It can take an entire season to get your pH up. But now that you have that data, do your lime applications, continue to fertilize the lawn, keep up with your mowing. The lawn is likely going to look pretty good, but again, just for it to look its absolute best, make it less susceptible to disease, make it less susceptible to weed pressure, also create an environment that is really good for turf grass, but not good for stuff that we don't want, like certain weeds, like moss. Like moss likes or does better in more acidic soil. You really want to work to get your pH between 6 and 7. So it's not just for your grass. It's not just because it's beneficial to your grass. It's also because it's better for keeping the things that you don't want in your lawn out of it. Okay, so there's lots of reasons to get your pH in, and again, the Goldilocks zone. Again, between like high 5s, low 7s is really what you're after. All right. So great question. Continue to feed your lawn, continue to mow it. And again, I'm not going to be surprised that it's going to come out really nicely. All right. Next up is up. He says, hey, Ron, do you guys have any Advion ant bait stuff? My orchid lady put down some stuff on my beds and wow, it nuked them. If you don't carry it, do you have any plans to research? And what comps do you have? Do we have Advion fire ant bait? John, what kind of place do you think we're running here, man? Of course we have it. Of course we carry it. Last year we added it. Yes, you can absolutely get some Advion fire ant bait. This is the only fire ant insecticide that I use. Awesome product. Really easy to apply. Do I have a video in here on how I use it? Yeah, there you go. There's a video here that I did a couple years ago that talks about how I like to use Advion. It's a great product. So yes, we do carry it. You can absolutely get it on the Golf Course Lawn Store, and I will link it here in the chat for you. One of those bottles goes a long way. I tend to replace mine every 2 seasons. Like I get like one bottle that lasts me for a couple of years. So I hope that helps, John. Advion fire ant bait. There you go. We do carry it. As of last year, we started carrying it. So you got it. All right. And next up, he says, am I the only one that goes outside and just looks at the lawn with a beer? People driving by. I love it. But man, I'm so happy it's go time. No, I mean, I go there. I just look at my lawn sometimes, just, whisper sweet nothings to it. You have to do that. I can't prove it, but I think, grass can tell when it's being loved. It knows when it's being showered with lots of affection. So yes, you're not the only one. John, you're on a live stream about turf grass on a Friday night. Pretty much, probably everybody in here is guilty of that. Another thing too, you might notice too, and again, I don't know in your area. You guys ever notice you go out and you start mowing your grass, and then all of a sudden, someone else, like in the neighborhood, all starts mowing their grass too? You ever notice that? It's a thing. Maybe I'm kind of like I guess correlate. How's the saying go? Like correlation does not mean causation, but it happens too often for it to not be a thing. To where you're out mowing your grass and all of a sudden you hear someone else, crank up their mower. You're like, yeah, whatever. Why can't you be unique? Why can't you do your own thing? Anyway, right? Okay. Professor Tio says Ron loves his Zoysia better. LOL. Zoysia is pretty nice. I have to admit that it is nice. Mr. Bragg says, I want to do the same to my front, but my HOA guidelines say no, we have to do it anyway. Wait, your HOA says you can't go from Bermuda to Zoysia? Like what? Like why? That makes that I don't know. That makes no sense to me, but whatever. It is an HOA. It says Ace Hardware has a top dress Ecos 250. Ooh, that's cool. That's awesome. That's good to know. So you tell me that because I do have an Ace Hardware nearby, they're running the Eco. That is cool. You know what? If for nothing else, I've never got to use one of those personally. Like they look really cool. I've never got to use one myself. But yeah, that's cool. It's good to know. Thanks for the tip, Drew. Mr. D Bragg says, I have a neighbor that has 2 river birch trees in his front yard, around 800 square feet, and our standard Tifway 419 lawn. The Bermuda has died pretty much. Yep, and he's not sure what to do. Yeah, it's just big trees and Bermuda grass just do not go together. You're saying, can I switch to Zoysia and cut back the low limbs for sunlight? Thoughts? That's gonna be your best bet. If you can't remove the trees, then yeah, topping the trees, like really raising the canopy up and then trying Zoysia out would be the way to go. Like Zoysia is more shade tolerant than Bermuda for sure. Like for example, in my personal front lawn, right? There is, can I show you? Yeah, I can show you. So when we go back over to the Zoysia, I'm going to pause right here once I get to it. Right there. Okay, cool. You see that shrub in the background? Like towards I don't know, like 2 o'clock in the video? The Zoysia around that looks spectacular. Looks absolutely great, right? Around that shrub, when I had Bermuda grass, there's probably an 18-inch to 2-foot section, like a band, literally a little semicircle around the shrub, where the Bermuda grass just did not do well. It would never really fill in and do well in that section, whereas Zoysia living his best life. So just even in my testing, like that, you wouldn't think that shrub would really cast enough of a shade issue to cause Bermuda grass to really thin out, and it did. Whereas Zoysia in that same section looks great. There's no problems at all with it. So it is more shade tolerant. Are you going to get enough sunlight by cutting the low limbs back? Hard to say. So it could be an expensive experiment, but right now you got nothing. If you really want to have a lawn, Zoysia is not a bad choice. Again, assuming your budget allows you to try this, and if it doesn't work, it just doesn't. So something to consider. All right, a Coffee Black says, hello, Ron. Hope you're having a great week. Thanks for your live streams and teachings. What made you get into lawns? I've been doing lawns for 3 years now, and I'm loving this career path. So it's a long story. I began working on the lawn almost 10 years ago at this point. Over this is like past year 9, so coming up on 10 years. And I started going on YouTube as a way to document it, so I can see, I'd have content to show like where it started and how it progressed. And then people started watching the videos and they're like, oh man, this is really cool. And I started I'm learning more about it. I started making friends with some folks that worked in professional turf grass in the local area and getting some tips and guidance from them. And it just kind of all snowballed. Like I did not start out for it to become what it became, but I'm I'm really excited. Now look, this is what I do. What do I do for a living now? I do for work now, right? I talk about grass and help people get amazing lawns. So kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Lots of fun though. But yeah, it's fun. I mean, and grass is pretty much the thing that I really like. You'll notice I'm not a big shrub person, not a big tree person, but I like turf grass. It's cool. It is cool. Let's see here. Uh, it says, "Hey Ron, what is the difference between methylated seed oil, non-ionic surfactant, and oil YS, the natural spray adjuvant, yucca plant extract?" I don't know the third one. So, methylated seed oil, like if you have a weed or a plant that has a more like a waxier layer, like kind of like how crabgrass can have, using a spray adjuvant like methylated seed oil or a non-ionic surfactant is going to help, is going to produce a better result. Methylated seed oil is more, I hate to use the word aggressive. It's more aggressive than a non-ionic surfactant, and really the only herbicide that I would use an MSO with is maybe quinclorac. For the most part, most herbicides don't really require it. Like you can get by with a non-ionic surfactant. Quinclorac does benefit from an MSO if you decide to go that route. And then the last one you have like a natural the yucca plant extract. I'm not familiar with that one. I don't know off the top of my head like what the value or how that would work. I imagine it's gonna perform kind of like an MSO or kind of like a surfactant. It's probably just a different from a different source. All right. We primarily recommend the use of non-ionic surfactant, primarily because there's less, in my opinion anyway, and just also from testing, less chance of injury if you are a little bit heavy-handed with it. And most herbicides, whereas in my opinion, the list of herbicides that really benefit from using a methylated seed oil are less, like pretty much all of them outside of, like I'm trying to think of one that you would not use a surfactant with, like velocity. Velocity PM is a good example. Like this one, they specifically say do not use like a spray adjuvant of any kind. Like don't use MSO, don't use surfactant, don't use anything with it. Just the product and water. Whereas like your like certainty, recognition, fusilade, tenacity, a three-way herbicides, pretty much all of those will benefit from using a surfactant, which is why we carry them on the golf course lawn store. So we don't really carry an MSO, but we do carry surfactant because pretty much all herbicides outside of velocity will perform better if you use a surfactant with them. All right. All right. So next up we have Selenel says it's normal to hear the sounds of a mower and want to mow. It's normal. But thing is though, why do you need the sounds of the mower? I mean, what I'm saying is why can't you just on your own motivation, your own, like why can't you just go out on yourself and just go do it? Because well, here's what happens. If I'm out mowing my grass and then someone else cranks up their lower, like right when I'm out mowing my lawn, now on a small level, we've now started a competition. At some point, this has now become like a cold war of lawn care. We're gonna have to go back and forth and see whose lawn is gonna end up being the best because you didn't do it on your own. Like if you're out mowing by yourself, and that's fine. But now, if every time I go out to mow, you go out to mow, now it's like okay, now we let's say we have a problem. But now I see who you are. I see what I'm dealing with. You know what I mean? I think we all probably are the same way on that one. Okay, next up is Kyle McLeod. He says soil results: iron is low, and back is 0.61. I guess is that F? I guess for degrees. I guess it's St. Augustine. Is going Zoysia in the spring. Suggestions on how to improve: heavy application initially and a mid-level application every other week for a while. No. What I would do is I would, as far as fertilizer goes, I would feed your lawn a reasonable diet of nutrients. So I am a fan of between half a pound and 7/10, 8/10 of a pound of nitrogen per month for a Bermuda lawn or a Zoysia lawn. Like that performs really well in my opinion. And then as far as iron, you can use products that have iron in them, like two of the three fertilizers that we carry, the granular ones anyway. have iron in them. So the complete 14714 and this one also has iron in it. And then as far as like a more effective way really to make use of iron or get iron into your lawn is just to spray it using a liquid micronutrient. Like foliar uptake is going to be better in most cases. I would not go out and do a heavy application, because when I hear like heavy application, in my mind, that heavy application is the same as like over applying the product. So if you want to, if your soil tests show that your lawn is deficient in iron, then yes, using a granular fertilizer that has iron in it, good idea. Using a foliar spray as part of a spoon feeding program that has iron in it regularly, also a good idea. But build it up over time. Don't try and fix, like, you didn't even know about the problem until you did your soil test. So it, like, why try and fix it in like a week? It doesn't really work that way. So I would take the data, and then I would choose products that over time are going to address the issues that your soil test results have exposed. That's how I would go about it. Like, in general, you're just not going to get into problems that way with potentially causing damage to your lawn, and just it's going to be more sustainable over a longer period of time versus trying to go super heavy with this and just trying to like fix it all in one go. So hope that helps, Kyle. Great question. Again, I would just use a granular fertilizer with iron in it and a liquid micronutrient of some kind that also has iron. If you do that, you're going to get a good result. All right, Kevin D. Jones is up next. He says, Ron, I'm sure you have caused many wife versus husband arguments in your neighborhood. That's not true. I don't take sides. I don't take sides in any way. People ask me for what I think, and I tell them, and then you can do with it as you will. He says, my crappy Zoysia does, but at least the neighbors do let me know the pressure is brewing. Okay. I wouldn't think why would I cause heated arguments? I don't think I cause heated arguments. I think it's all in the framing. You have to frame things properly. You got to frame it. You say, hey, sweetie, I want to go out and spend like $3,000 on a lawnmower. Not the way to frame it. Not the way to frame it. You got to talk about the benefits. You got to say like, hey, the lawn's gonna look really nice, great curb appeal. Our people will drive by and people are gonna think our house looks awesome. It's gonna raise, like the perception of the property and all these types of things. It's gonna be a point of pride, like all those things. And then you can talk about, and all this for the low price of like $3,000. What do you think? That's how you do it. You don't lead with like it's like a $3,000 piece of lawn equipment, because that sounds like very much you're buying something just for you. Remember, it's not for you. It's for the house. For the homes, for the family. You gotta like frame it. Okay. Next up is, let's see here. John says some HOAs are crazy. I would check the guidelines, and if I can't make my lawn look better than the rest, I think you should dig deeper about might not flopping the grass might be best. You might just go and talk to them. Just talk to them and say, hey, listen, this is what I'm trying to think about doing. What's like how can we get around this, or how can we, how can I get what I need to do? Because here's what's going on. I got this massive tree or whatever. I'm trying, or I have no grass growing here. It's basically bare dirt, which is an eyesore for the neighborhood. Doesn't look good. I want to correct it. This is what I need to do to correct it. You have to just kind of explain why you want to do what you want to do, and why it's good for everyone if we figure out a way to make this happen. So there's that. Okay, Coffee Black, aka Timmy Time says, yet nice. I'm more into grass versus ornamentals and shrubs. I would agree with that. James Black says, what is your opinion on liquid aerators? I think that their effectiveness is overstated. That's what I think. Do they have no value? I wouldn't say they have no value, but I mean, liquid aeration and core aeration, like using a machine, are not in the same universe. They're not even remotely the same as far as effectiveness. So, I mean, are there benefits of products you apply that you put in the soil, you water in, that can, stimulate microbial activity and can help break down fats, and is that a thing? Yes, but pretty much like any of case in point, like all our liquid, like some of our liquid products, like the stuff from Miramichi Green, like this stuff stimulates microbial activity, but you won't see it being listed as a liquid aerator because I think that's kind of a bit like disingenuous. So, are there benefits to them? Sure, but are they a replacement for core aeration? No. And if you don't want to take like Ron Henry's opinion on it, here's a great way to be able to show that is actually the case. If liquid aeration were a substitute for core aeration, Like professional sports fields would just go out there and just spray liquid aerator and save themselves tons of time, money, and making people not mad because the greens are shut down, right? But there's tons of benefits that only core aeration can provide. Like you're physically removing cores from the soil profile. You're allowing air, water, nutrients to get into the soil. If you decide you're going to top dress the lawn, you can help improve drainage because you're creating all these voids for the top dressing material, the sand to go into. Like it's not even the same universe as far as benefits if you're comparing liquid aeration to core aeration. So if you got one, you want to use it, fine. But pretty much any of the biostimulants that we have that are liquids you can say they're technically liquid aerators. We don't call them that because it's silly. Like aeration, if you want to aerate your lawn, go out and get an aerator or pay someone to aerate your lawn for you. Liquid, like aeration in a bottle, is not effective in the way that most people think that it is. So, but whatever. Probably makes people mad, but not wrong. All right, next up is Morgan. He says, I applied certainty to some Poa annua 7 days ago. I'm not seeing any results yet. How long should I wait before reapplying? I live in Atlanta. Thanks. So 2 things. When you applied it, what rate did you use? Thing 2, did you use surfactant with it? And then thing 3, just give it some time, patience. Like I think another gentleman was talking about using certainty. I think it was Dan. He applied it. He said 10 days. He's starting to see some yellowing. And that's the way the product typically works, right? You're going to see not a whole lot, and then it will really begin ramping up and the POA will die off. So if the POA annua that you are spraying has gotten to the point to where it has gone to flower, it's got seed heads, then you really want to use the higher end of the rate card for controlling it. So that is 2 ounces per acre or 2 of the large scoops per 1,000 square feet. If you didn't do that, if you went less than that, then that's part of why you're not getting a good result with it. So you want to, in 2 large scoops per 1,000 square feet, be sure to use surfactant with it. This is really important. It's really important that you use this along with certainty to get the best result. And if you do that, it absolutely does work. The product works. You just have to spray it at the right rates, use surfactant with it, and then it's just patience. Give it some time. All right. So hope that helps. Next up is Dan Taylor. He says, yeah, it's $299.99, not $3,000. It's $2,999. It's not $3,000. There you go. Right. So it's all on how you frame it, man. All on how you frame it. Yeah. Here's another way you can think about it too, right? You can't say $3,000 because that sounds like a lot. You got to say, look, we're going to be in this house for the next 10 years and I'm going to be out there mowing it. You don't have to mow. I'm going to mow. I'm going to be the one I'm going to take care of the mowing. And you figure that's going to be, starting in March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. That's like 8 months of mowing several times per week. If we look at the price of this, like the price per mow, it's practically free. Practically didn't cost anything, right? So you have to look at it. You can't say like it's $3,000 for a mower. You got to say over the course of time we're going to have it, how long we're going to have it, how much I'm going to use it. Price per mow, practically nothing. Less than a cup of coffee. All right, next up is Cassie 3250. He says, hey, Ron, I had a great year last year, but then I nuked it with mesotrione, use tenacity. I eyeballed it. Yeah, it's not good. And killed a sizable amount, considering if I should just glyphosate and reseed the lawn in the spring. Yeah, I guess it depends on how bad the damage is. It depends how bad it is, man. I mean, if you said, it sounds like what you did is you went, you just said, if 2 ounces is good, 3 ounces is better, or you just kind of, like you said, you just kind of eyeballed it. If you want to start all over, then yeah, I mean, if your goal is to just do a complete renovation, glyphosate is a very cost-effective way to get rid of your existing lawn and get prepared to bring new sod in, or I guess if you're going to seed it, or to reseed the lawn. It's absolutely a way to do that. But here's the thing, Cassie, we got a pinky promise that we're not going to be back here again, this time next year, right? We're not going to go out and we're not going to eyeball it like we're going to, the manufacturer. I'm sure a bunch of engineers and lawyers and everyone else all had to sign off on putting, this measuring cup on the bottle that tells you exactly how much product to use with how much water. And, as long as we follow the label, you're going to be good to go. All right. So the answer to the question is it depends on how bad it is and if you want to go through the cost and headache of resodding the lawn. I mean, given the choice versus instead of doing it from seed, maybe resodding it might be a faster way to go. But just I'd want to advise that regardless of what you decide, make sure we're going to follow the label for any products that we're looking at going forward so that we don't end up end up here again. All right. And you're like, no more eyeballing. Yeah, man, you learned, right? And here's the thing, it's fine. It happens. It happens to all of us, you know. Like like many moons ago, probably 6, 7 years ago, like I had the bright idea, like, you know, you always hear it, whenever you're putting fertilizer out or you're refilling the hopper with fertilizer of your spreader, like, don't do it on the lawn. Do it on actually on pavement. And you know, one time I was out there doing it, and I said, it can't be that big a deal. So I refilled the hopper on the lawn, and then I got a phone call, and I went inside, and you know what? I came outside to a big, like a pile of fertilizer on the lawn, and I was out there. I got as much of it as I could. I got out there with a vacuum cleaner, and it still was not successful. I still burnt my lawn. You guys want to see the video of it? I think I've still got that video from like many years ago. Burnt. Let's see. Burnt my lawn. There we go. Yep, there it is. So 2018. It's been almost 10 years since this video was produced. But if you guys want to see why, whenever I talk about putting fertilizer in hoppers, why you don't do that on the lawn, do it on concrete, do it on the sidewalk, do it on pavement, do not do it on the lawn, please. It's because I've made that mistake. I've done it. I've not done that. And I've got the scars to prove it. If you guys want to laugh at my expense from like 2018, you can check out this video. It's still on the channel. All right. All right, Jerry K's up next. Is Mr. Bragg, I have celebration under the tree and it grows fine in Dallas, Texas. Less mowing, less water, grows laterally, not horizontally like part of my Tiffany 419. Okay. Yeah, but it depends, man. It also depends. Like depending on what kind of tree you have, Jerry, and how big it is. Like it might not be the same like what he's dealing with. You know what I mean? So it's not like in other words, Bermuda does not do well in shade. It just doesn't. Like there's some, a lot of manufacturers will say we have a more shade tolerant Bermuda. All that means is instead of it needing like 9 hours of sunlight, it needs like 8.5, right? It still needs a lot of sunlight. So if your lawn is doing well under a tree, it's just getting enough sunlight. His is not doing well under a tree, so it's just obviously it's not getting enough sunlight. I mean, barring some kind of a soil issue, like it's just not getting enough. So I would discourage you from going down this route of trying to chase different cultivars or trying to find one that works. Like if what you have is really thin, the lawn is not doing well there, and it's Bermuda grass, it's probably not going to do well regardless of which one you put in there. I mean, you may get one where it's a little bit less thin, but it's still not going to look good. So I just want to say that Bermuda and shade, like ice cream and mayonnaise, they just don't go together. So I just trying to help you, avoid you from going and spending a bunch of time and money and frustration when it comes to getting your lawn looking nice. All right, and Dan Taylor says, a good rule of thumb is remember the label is law on a positive note. There you go. There you go, Dan. I like it. That's a great point, great comment. And on that bombshell, I guess last comment and question we have of the evening. Actually, no, we've got one more. From Cassie, says, my Lesco has a built-in feature called cadence detection. If it senses hesitation, it unloads half the product. What? No. Is that a thing? That can't be a thing. When you say unloads half the product, what does that mean? Like that can't be. I'll have to look into this. I've never heard of that before. It sounds like craziness. It sounds like craziness. I don't know. All right. Let's see here. Kyle says, thanks for your response. Knock on, took your advice and used Spectacle G in the fall. Not a sign of POA anywhere. A few dandelions, but they're easy to deal with. Spectacle is legit. It's expensive. They're proud of it, but you know what? It is worth every penny, in my opinion. It's excellent product, especially as a fall pre-emergent. All right. Well, guys, gals, that is all we have this evening. Live stream starting to go longer, man. We broke the 2-hour mark tonight, which is pretty cool. We'll cue the outro. As always, thank you guys so much for taking some time to come hang out on a Friday evening. I know there's other places you could be tonight, but you're choosing to spend it with me talking about turfgrass. As always, if you're looking for a great assortment of fertilizer, pre-emergent, fungicide, insecticides, herbicides, everything you need to create a lawn that your neighbors are absolutely going to envy, along with blogs, articles, guidance to help you use said products properly, check us out at the Golf Course Lawn Store. We'd love the opportunity to earn your business and be part of your lawn care journey. Until next week, get out there, do something fun in the lawn, and we'll see you guys next Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Take care.